And if it's true for me, and that's my ability to work, I don't have a dressing room, I don't have my chair, and it's not fair. Mouth diarrhea coming from my mouth. Verbal diarrhea coming from my mouth. Yeah, I have millions of views, thousands of followers, but guess what? I'm not a Trump supporter, and I don't support any of my fans. Anything for a buck, right, ladies? I have mouth diarrhea coming from my mouth. Verbal diarrhea coming from my mouth. No one else's. Mouth diarrhea.
Do you see yourself as a victim?
Mouth diarrhea.
If so, I feel sorry for you.
Mouth diarrhea.
They call me a racist cracker.
Mouth diarrhea.
So I'm terminated and fired wrongfully. So I'm upset by it and I'm hurt by it and I feel betrayed by it.
Are they still paying you?
Yeah, they're still paying me.
I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna see Patricia McCloskey. I wanna scream for the GOP. I wanna sit with Dan Bongino. I wanna show the American flag. Eggs behind the toilet in grandma's basement. I wanna ask him if he'll be my dad. I wanna change my name to Nick Bongino. I wanna tell him about the man in the stairs. He kinda looks like Dan Bongino. Grandma tries to tell me not to go down there, but I would be safe with Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino.
System, the company store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderous scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive. You're selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video.
Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head.
What the hell?
That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur.
Literal vampire pot belly goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go.
We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
I'm an incel myself, so do you know what an incel is? Involuntary celibate. It's like a community of people on the internet who can't get laid, and some of them go out and like kill people, like Elliot Rodger. I'm not saying. I'm cringing right now. I'll explain it later. The virgin is the incel. Involuntarily celibate, who never gets laid. He's like unable to get laid. He's very nerdy. He has terrible posture, and that would be someone that would be considered a fag. Holy shit, dude.
This is a short ad break by Hassan Piker. I want you to redistribute the wealth to Mall Brawl by order of Communist Turkey. Follow his Twitch streams at Mall Brawl.
It's cool. There's like 8 sinks, so.
I love crap.
Wait, what the heck? Bro, what this? What that? What is this? I said I would clap the fucking shit out of Ben Shapiro's ass cheeks, dude. Oh, that's terrible.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment. 16. Just kidding.
Okay, bye. Holy shit, dude.
Ray is here with us today.
You know, I almost don't want to even give this young Turk, George Soros-funded creature any attention, but she wants it. She needs to get it. Her name is Ray Vaughn.
Certified freak, 7 days a week.
I love Dave Rubin.
Wet ass pussy, make that pull-out game weak.
I read his book.
Fuck you. You're fucking insane.
And Ray, you are truly an inspiration to all who are here today and all of our great country. Thank you, Ray, for being with us. Thank you.
This is a deranged pervert.
Thank you.
And now you're just turning to fucking ad hominems because you literally can't back it up. Back it up.
Back it up.
Fuck it up.
Back it up.
Fuck it up.
It's just skin.
Ooh, fuck it up.
Back it up. Back it up.
Fuck it up.
And it's not good.
Ooh,
Back it up.
fuck it up.
Back it up.
Fuck it up.
Penises, they're the worst.
Ooh, fuck it up.
Back it up. Back it up.
Fuck it up.
Penises are not the worst. Penises are great.
Recovery mode.
Hi, 1 second. Let me clean my glasses. They're dirty. I couldn't see out of them. My commute is 20 minutes each way, so shout out to Taking the L Pod for being 3 commutes worth of entertainment for each episode. Hey, everybody, check out my podcast. Command Pod will give you the link in chat to the Patreon. Don't have to subscribe to listen, but you should subscribe to help support me and my co-host / roommate. It's only $3 a month. Episodes early, get special bonus content, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. My glasses are clean. Is it keying out? Do I still have a green screen effect on? That's crazy. Let me turn that shit off. There we go. Hi, everybody. What day is it? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for choosing to spend it with me. I got caught in the rain. I'm feeling busted. It's okay. I'll live. Hope you all had a better day than me. I had to dig around the fucking county clerk's office of recording. That was not fun. Then they closed and I never found what I needed, so I have to go back. Rain, you're so lucky. Snow day. Oh yeah, it's like wintry mix today, but it's just been raining. Cold rain though. It's 35. And my bus decided it was going to take 30 minutes to get to the stop, so I just had to walk my ass home. Hi, Spam Tana. Marley, baby, thank you for the 100 biddies. Discount Seth Rogen, thank you for gifting a sub to Adric. And Late Bloomer, thank you for gifting a sub to Wheelie Snarky Dragon. And thank you for resubscribing as well. Hee, I never get tired of this. Been warm and rainy here in Cincy. Well, at the end of the day, it's still Cincinnati. Have you been able to get meds? I did. I got them on Saturday. So I am medicated. I'm awake. I'm alive. Feels good. Although, it's weird. I haven't had it for 2 weeks or so. 2 or 3 weeks. So I've lost my tolerance to it. I feel like I'm fucking tripping balls. I feel like I just drank 6 cups of coffee all day long. And then just to fuck with myself, I drank a real cup of coffee on top of that. Oh shit, I need to take my meds. Well, I'm glad I reminded you. It's snow and sleet here in Minnesota. I've never been to Minnesota, I don't think. No, I don't think I have. Ugh. Like my shirt. Don't talk to the cops, ladies and gentlemen. Know your rights. If you're arrested, keep your fucking mouth shut. Ask for a lawyer. They have to give you one. I'm ADHD, so caffeine doesn't affect me. You see, interestingly, because I have narcolepsy, so theoretically you would think caffeine should make me feel good. Should make me feel more awake. Alas, it does not. It makes me feel sick and anxious. What was it like stopping the meds suddenly? I crashed really hard. Hi, Deadcal. It's supposed to snow here in Temecula, California overnight. I worry about the vines. Where the hell is that? Let's find out. California. Let's look at a map here. Only been to one place in California. That was San Diego. Who the fuck is texting me? Oh. South of Los Angeles. Oh, we got snow today. Yesterday it was 60. It's in between San Diego and LA. Temecula? Supposed to freeze over in some areas. I saw that it was supposed to be snowing in LA. It was 70 in Kentucky today. God, it's all over the place. Like possibly snow in places that don't normally get it. Yeah, I heard something about that. My hair's so fucked up from getting poured on. Oh, I'm in Colorado. This is normal. Yeah, the weather's been shockingly mild this winter here in Chicago. Hi, are you from TYT? I'm new here. I'm actually from YTY, but good guess. And I hate you. But also, I love you, and everybody should go subscribe. Shout out Tina_2, TOO, not the number 2. Don't get confused. Ah, shut up. Shut your mouth. I'm hosting the main show on Friday, I think. And I think I'm on... I guess I could just look at my calendar. Already did that. Yeah, I'm hosting the Power Panel Friday, and then I'm co-hosting on Bossed on Monday. I saw you yesterday as I was streaming. I was like, I know her. Hey, that's... Wait, on TDR? I filled in at the last minute. I really love this new camera. See all the pores. It is a nice camera. One sec. I just got a job offer from state of Florida, and I can't believe it, being lifelong Democrat. What kind of job? If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to tell me. Hey, thanks to the new patron. I love you. Department of Revenue, Children and Families. I love Florida. It's the best state. You can drown for free. Take the job and sabotage the government from within in TA. Well, the thing about government jobs, especially at the state and local level, is like most of the stuff you're doing is very apolitical. Like, I don't know. I work with people who, you know, a lot of my job is contacting people who work for different agencies within the city government of Chicago and Cook County government. And like, they're just people with jobs. Like, my mom works for a city government, and it's not like a political capacity. She tells people where they need to go inside the building. Like, it's, you know, smoke grass, eat ass, and attend mass. Amen, sister. This is true. I work for the AF. Ray, did you see what happened to Councilman Hines in Colorado? No, I did not. Last week. Nope. Missed it. Should I look into it? I attend church. No ashes again this year. Yo, the song's cute. Is it ending? No, I kind of was getting into it. It's not over. I very infrequently listen to the music that's playing in the background, but I kind of like this one. Had my son call into work because I'm not willing to die going to get him, nor am I willing to risk our lives driving back home with a snowstorm. Supervisor was pissed and was like, this will count as an occurrence. Even Goodwill is profits over people. Everyone who I know who's worked for Goodwill despised the culture there. Like, they would say their coworkers are cool, but management fucking sucks. Everyone I know who worked at Goodwill quit eventually, and not like just because they moved on with their lives, but because they fucking hated working there. Brandon Johnson supporters text banked Lori Lightfoot, and good on them. They were doing Ash and Dash on the street today. Is today Ash Wednesday? Oh my God. I missed it. Shit. I'm looking for, maybe I could just go get like my black eyeshadow and put some on my forehead. I'm not Catholic anymore, so it doesn't matter. Yesterday was Mardi Gras, bro. I am so divorced from anything. I know when Ramadan starts, and I know when St. Patrick's Day is. That's about it. Blesses a joint and then lights and gathers the ash. When I was still smoking weed, we used to make those cross blunts. I was really good at rolling blunts. Sometimes if my friends are smoking, I still ask them to let me roll it so I can show them how good I am. It's a wasted gift, really. I mean, I used to roll blunts on my lap in the car while I was driving. You know, you learn. So essentially, Councilman Hines is a paraplegic from the chest down, and despite being the incumbent, the organizers of the debate failed to ensure the stage was accessible. He was forced to crawl onto the stage. Oh, that's fucking horrible. I had a client who went to a school with no elevator, and he had to crawl up and down the stairs to get to class. And the judge cried while he was giving his testimony and then fucking ruled against us. Can you even believe that? Hi, Queen Mother Dragon. Wait, you didn't hear about that? I know. You think I would? You think I would have heard about that at my job today? Christina, thank you so much for resubbing for 20 months. Everybody, if you're not already following / subscribe to Christina at Cosmopolitics. TYT covered it twice. Yeah, I don't watch TYT. Whoops. Why do I get it wrong both times? I fucked that one up. This time I've got it for sure. This time I've got it for sure. I won't fuck it up. I did it. No, it says something went wrong. It's because TYT's West Coast and majority report is like East Coast. Wait, what? Was there a beginning part of that question? No, it's on at an inconvenient time for me to watch it, so I don't watch it. Unless I'm on it. In which case, I'm not watching it anyway. I'm living it. It's just on during the day. I can't work and listen to something else at the same time. Twitch is broken. Ah, okay. Yeah, my stream was weird at the beginning, so I was wondering. The venue is in all likelihood ADA compliant. People do not realize how many holes are in the ADA. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm trying it too. It's not working. Fuck Twitch. Literally have no time to watch unless I'm watching clips on stream. Sometimes I'll go out of my way to watch something if I know what they're covering, but otherwise it's like... Hey.
For too much shit.
Who?
You.
What do you mean?
Did
you bring him in?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Is it still raining?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Bunch of packages. I should only have one thing. It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno. Thank you for bringing him up. At the end of January, my job made us go back 2 days a week. It's so brutal, but I can't catch TYT live shows Monday and Tuesday. Sad. I have to go and work one day in person, and today was that day, and it fucking sucked. I have like 800 plus vids in my watch later list. People are like, oh, you just want to sue, but disability cases are rarely won. Don't I know it? It's insane. I had a client who used paratransit. And so for anyone who doesn't know what paratransit is, it's the special transportation service, special bus service, essentially for people with disabilities who aren't able to take the like standard transit. Like in Chicago, we got the CTA. If that's inaccessible to you, you could take the PACE paratransit. And I had a client who they didn't pick him up for 300 rides in a year. And the judge ruled that that was still access, that was still accessible. They forgot to pick him up 300 times. And the judge was like, seems fine to me. I hope that judge kisses himself. Well, we're appealing it right now, but it's already been 5 years. I had someone kick my service dog in the head today. What the fuck? Ours is called Wheel-Trans, but it's being discontinued. I work for a paratransit company for a short time. It's like the Wild West, and they will take that money. Yeah, bro, the fucking courts are so fucked. They are. Time to pray that judge needs those services. Conan told me the story on how we booked Sam Cedar for the podcast and came up with a banging song in 7 minutes. That's fantastic. Here the buses are accessible, but there's nearly no accessible stops. See, that's the problem in Chicago, right? The buses are all accessibly equipped, but getting on and off of them because of the fucking sidewalks is not feasible. We also have elevators in like some of our train stations, but like obviously that's not access if you can only get on at certain and get on and off at certain stops. I mean, what else are you supposed to do if you need to go to a certain stop and they don't have an elevator there? You're just supposed to fucking throw yourself down the stairs and then grab your wheelchair as you're tumbling down. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, Connecticut doesn't think curbs are a real thing. The elevators is gonna have the L is gonna have elevators in all stops by like 2040. Hold on for dear life. Kitty kitty. Oh, did you meow? What is it? Come here. Come here. Come on. Why are my what? What did you do? She appears, she meows, and my frame's cut out. Did she do that? I've been to Chicago once and rode the L in the middle of the night from the airport and got off at the wrong stop. That was an exciting experience. Well, at least you were on the blue line. One of the great things about Chicago is that our trains go straight to the fucking airport. So you can just get on the train and go all the way to the airport. Miss Kitty's fucking it up. Also, Uber has an accessible option, but only within the city limits of Chicago. Yeah, we sued Uber a while back. It didn't go well for us, of course. Nonprofit versus... Nonprofit representing disabled people versus Uber. Worst part is, I'm about to sue them again. Because we got another really good case from a client. Disability discrimination being experienced by, being perpetrated by Uber. So we're right back in it. Omega, thank you so much for gifting 2 subs to Quick Stop and Stormtrooper Corps. Go sub yourself, baby. Dude, the first time I visited Chicago when I was like 19, I got lost in the Loop for hours. I felt like a dumbass. Loop is an easy place to get lost in. I would probably, I mean, I'm going to visit Chicago in May and we're so excited to host you. In July 2018, we got a ride home, but not to Chicago. I had to, you always give me one. Suits, can labor join in on the suit? I mean, we're just representing the plaintiffs. We're not, you know. And I would say I wish, but very different types of cases. Plus, we're gonna lose, so inevitably we're gonna lose. But we've had some big victories. We have. Because you agree to be responsible for your possessions, but if they broke your ankle, they would have to pay. Also, we need legislation protecting mobility aids because currently if Lyft or Uber breaks your chair, they aren't liable. Well, yeah, and one thing I've talked about a lot, and I've talked about it vaguely because I'm involved. I'm representing someone in litigation about this matter right now. But if you fly at the airport, if you fly in airlines, they will, you have to, like, if you use a motorized wheelchair, it's gonna break. They're gonna break it. I don't know how else to say it. They're gonna break your wheelchair. And then when you get to your destination, they're gonna like deboard every person, deplane, I think they call it. They're gonna deplane everybody on the fucking plane, and then they're gonna come up to you. You're still sitting down because they haven't given you a wheelchair to use. And they're gonna say, "Oh my God, we're so sorry, but we broke your wheelchair." And then they're gonna make you sit on the plane for like 4 hours. And then eventually they're gonna very embarrassingly pick you up and lift you off the plane like you're an object and not a person. And then you have no mobility. You have no way to get around in the place that you've landed because they broke your motorized wheelchair and they won't pay for it. This happens all the time. Not to mention the fact that when they pick you up to carry you on or off the plane, they're gonna hit your head on something. They're gonna hit your head on something. And you will be referred to as the wheelchair. Yeah. I cringed so hard in class yesterday because one of my professors said that someone was confined to a wheelchair. And I was like, that's not, and she's like a very well-intentioned person, but I was like, that's not the proper terminology. No one is confined to a wheelchair. No one is wheelchair bound. People use wheelchairs just like you use glasses. You are not glasses bound. No one says you're confined to glasses. It's just a mobility tool that they use. That's generational. It needs to be, I mean, it's generational if you are not a wheelchair user, but I mean, this is language that, I mean, it's been problematic. Can I share a link to amend the ACAA? Yeah, DM it to me. I feel like that terminology is perfect for using cars. Confined to a vehicle. I am glasses bound though. It makes it sound like they're strapped to the chair as a hostage. Same thing with differently abled. I feel like that language is like not caught on. So I don't know. Like, I don't know too many disabled people who would use that term or those, you know, that language, differently abled. I'm virginity bound. No, I didn't think you were. But you're right. It is generational. People get used to saying things a certain way, so they continue to say it. I'm bound to swaglessness. I feel like differently abled is well-intentioned. I agree. However, it implies that, no, I'm saying it is kind of problematic and used by older generations, maybe. I think it was like a millennial lib thing. Nina uses otherly abled. I cringe so hard. I think it is with the best of intentions, but we in the disabled community use the term disabled. Disabled is not a dirty word. It doesn't make us less than. And I think using differently abled implies that disabled is bad, right? It's fine to be disabled. Lots of people are disabled. I think something like 25% of Americans have a disability. I sent the link. Let me open it. Here, I'll send the link in the chat for anybody who wants to sign on to the petition. There you go. I like that. Just plain wrong. It is. It's fucked up. Cardinal, thank you so much for subbing for almost an entire year. That's amazing. 1 in 4 adults over 25 will be disabled by age 65. That's the thing. I've said this multiple times on Nina Turner show, but we all, God willing, reach old age. And once you reach old age, you will start to encounter obstacles with your health that may or may not cause you to be disabled. You will need these services. So people who can be indifferent in youth or, you know, will eventually need the services that they were indifferent towards because they didn't need them when they were young. Which is why everybody, you know, and I think that people should advocate for people, you know, and issues, even if they don't personally affect them. But, you know, people don't, I don't know what to say. Like, people don't care about a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people don't give a shit about things that don't impact them. But, you know, disability rights is something that will personally impact you if you, God willing, reach old age. So you should care anyway. Also, shit happens throughout life, like injuries and illness. Yeah, people, especially with COVID, you know how many long COVID patients I now have, or COVID clients I now have? It's insane how much the number has gone up since I started working there in 2020, late 2020 or early 2021. Americans aren't comfortable with mortality. Yeah, everyone thinks they're going to live forever and become billionaires. We should drop the, I was trying to read something. I missed it now. Imagine being a weak ass bitch who rides on the inside of a plane. Yes, it's like when people say African American instead of black. My wife prefers black over African American because she isn't from Africa. She's Black American. Yeah, I feel like that was also, it's really not current, you know? I never really hear people say African American anymore. Maybe like older people. Some of my professors still say it, but it's just like, it's not, it's, black people refer to themselves as black, right? Like, again, it's just like a term that was created to, with the best of intentions, perhaps, but you know, it comes across poorly. Because it's not like when someone says they're like Mexican American, because usually what that means is that they're an immigrant from Mexico, or like, oh, I'm, you know, whatever. People might say I'm what's another, Brazilian American, or even Asian American. I feel like is, people still say that. Hey Ray, how are you this evening? I'm good. You apes want to live forever. Not me. I have a shirt that says ready to die on it. If you say African American, you should also say European American. Hi Ravana, first time here. Big fan of yours on the Young Turks. Well, thanks for joining in. Glad to have you. I thought African American was like the specific ethnicity formed of the descendants of slaves in the US. I mean, there is a group, ADOS, right? American or African descendants of slavery, I think is what ADOS stands for. My jokes are a Brazil American. Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough one. You'll get it next time. You'll get it next time. The thing is, like, I think it's really, again, it's like a continent also. It's like so unspecific. But that's like people who claim they'll be like, oh, I'm like, white people in America will be like, I'm European. And it's like, that's not a thing though. That's an entire continent. And you're not from there. So you're not like, you're not European. You're a white guy from Boise, Idaho. And speaking of which, I want to watch this video. I've seen it about 1 billion times all over Twitter today, but it just made me so angry. Becca, thank you so much for resubbing for 10 months. Hope you're feeling better. You still did a good job with JR under the weather. Well, thank you. I'm feeling much better today. Although I got caught in the rain, so I'm sure my sickness will come back full force. I slept a lot last night, so I feel quite a bit better. Damn, there's a guy here, and the first thing I hear is a ho. Wait, who said that? I didn't say a ho. Hi, Viral. Once you're like 2 to 3 generations removed, yeah. That's the global discrimination, like how the world map now features how much larger Africa is compared to North America. I mean, it is. It is so much larger. Idaho. Ah, I did say Idaho. Thank you. Okay, here's the video though. Super fucked up. So fucked up. Like, oh, my camera. 1 second. I got another battery. Give me 1 second. There we go. Got it. Got it. Okay, let me just focus. Focus, bitch. Focus. Okay, we did it. I have 3 batteries now, so that will never happen again. Well, it probably will, but but I'll never be without camera. Unless I forget to charge every single one of them, which I think is unlikely. So oh. Why is my camera like that? Why is it not detecting my video? Is it zoomed in? No. Well, there's the top of my head in case you missed it. Now let me get my videos back. There you go. Super fucked up video.
You guys know race mixing was illegal up until 2000. Race mixing was illegal up until 2002.
No. No. Did he just insinuate that miscegenation was illegal until, not insinuate, claim that miscegenation was illegal until 2002? Because last time I checked, Loving v. Virginia was decided quite a bit before that. Quite a bit before that.
You're gonna give up 50,000 years of evolution if you mix up with this dude.
Are you filming us?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But you
just look
but
awkwardly. Just look awkwardly.
no, you realize that race makes it's gonna give up 50,000 years of your evolution, right? There's 2 billion of those people being born.
Just to be clear, you haven't evolved. You have, like, human beings, it's not, you don't have evolution. First of all, wait, 50,000 years seems like a lot of years. But that's not how evolution works.
Because of
Did you know that it's actually better?
She's so drunk. I'm sorry. She's so drunk.
To like,
No, it's not.
I'm not going to talk science.
No, it's not.
I'm a scientist.
No, it's
I'm
not.
Actually, I'm a scientist, and I'm not going to talk about this. Video.
Literally, if you literally, you're just throwing down your genetic line. For sure.
You know that the guy recording this video is like the ugliest dude on earth. Throwing away your genetic line. Shut up, bitch. You know that you have no chin.
Pretty much, you're just LARPing. You're LARPing as a European in America. If you
What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
had any actual like heart and integrity,
Hey, homie, are you
and
done?
you'd go back
I'm
to
not
Are you done?
What are you, a Jew?
Are you done?
Are you Jewish?
No.
I didn't hear that part when I watched this video earlier.
Are you done though?
No, but I'm saying the truth.
No, hold on.
Actually,
Hold on. I
though,
know. But
like,
are you
I
done?
am a scientist, and you
Stop
are
that.
wrong.
Stop. He's
So you
Hey, it's done now. It's done.
So you think
You stop that. Stop
No,
that.
you-
Homie, stop.
you think hybrid vigor is a thing?
Bro, film me, bro. Film me.
Okay.
Film me. Just stop. Stop that shit.
What are you?
Alright?
What are you? Some
It's done, bro.
SJW warrior?
Dude, I don't give a
What are you, an SJW warrior? A social justice warrior? What are you? A social justice warrior? Is that what you are? People need to take lessons from Pat God to fight back against Chud's fucking rat boy looking ass. I give up more than 50,000 years for my kids to not look like your inbred no chin ass little fucking bitch boy, not even real white, bro. It's just like, it's so brazen and so nasty. But like shit like this happens still, right? Like people still get harassed for being interracial couples in public. Obviously, racism is still very prevalent in society.
Hey,
it's done.
white people are only only
done.
7% of the world's population.
Who cares? Who fucking cares? Like what? I don't stress about that. I don't give a fuck about the white race. cares? Why do you care? And I mean, he's so concerned about what she's doing because he knows that nobody is gonna fuck him willingly and have his children.
And I'm part of that. And I'm part of that. And it's done now. And if we whatever you're doing is done.
If we intermix,
Shout out to this guy for just shutting this guy up, though.
we're becoming.
Who gives a fuck, dude?
I give a fuck because
Why?
we're the only creators of society. No,
White people were still rolling around in their own shit while African well there was like so advanced civilization and like large advancements in society in Africa and in the Middle East, while white people were still rolling around in mud and their own feces. All right, so shut the fuck up.
We're not.
No, we ain't. Net migration only flows into white country. It doesn't flow into.
Just stop.
Exactly.
Stop.
Hey,
Walk across
He's
the
stupid.
okay, name me one black country that you would want to move to.
Which is such a stupid an attempt at a gotcha, because it's like, oh, you mean the countries that under capitalism and colonialism from Europe have been decimated. It's because of colonialism.
Name me one.
Yes, name me one black country that you would move to.
Yeah, I mean, our system of government is literally based off of the system of government that the indigenous population had in place. We copied them. We stole their system of governing and killed them, genocided them. Pro tip for racists: you can spread the white race by mating with people of color. And we preserved knowledge during the Dark Ages. The Iroquois Confederacy, yeah.
Here, just go.
Oh, yeah.
Name me one black or brown country that you would move to. Everybody moves into white countries. Everyone moves.
I mean, that's not true. Also, like, what's a white country? Vietnam seems nice. I mean, like, look at fucking places like the UAE or Saudi Arabia. Like, white people are moving there. I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Moves into white countries for a reason. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because you don't have a retort.
They should have. I'm sorry. I won't advocate for violence, but you know what I think they should have done to this guy. You know what I think they should have done to this guy. And he would have deserved it. He was begging for it. That reason is colonialism, you fucking goon. Exactly. But someone said it. Like, look at the history of China. Like, look at the history of Northern Africa, the Middle East. The idea that it was white people who were the first to create civilization is just so unfounded. What Captain America did to Hitler, yep. The Chinese may have sailed to the Americas 400 years before the Vikings. I mean, it's so nasty. Do conservatives like this have a secret fetish of being beaten in public against someone's better sense of judgment? I mean, he was begging for it. Still in America, but all the crypto bros fled to Puerto Rico. Bad Bunny called them out. White people are the best colonizers. Give them some points. All right, well, there's that. Let's finish watching that horrible, horrible video we were watching. Let's see if I can find it in my history. Let's do this. Let's see how far I have to scroll. I've watched so many of these videos. If you can see my screen right now, it's just all Cash Jordan videos. All of the videos he's made. It's insane how many of his videos I've watched. Found it. Trigger warning.
These kinds of people.
Stupidity. Trigger warning. Nonsense. Buffoonery.
Exist in the world. And
Cash Jordan, he does real estate videos in New York. He he's a real estate agent, and he does videos of apartment listings, and I like to watch them.
You will grow up in a world where you need to love and respect these people.
Yeah, for me, that if we're talking specifically elementary school, for me that just looks like having a book in the classroom that is about a two-dad family or is about someone discovering that they like to wear dresses, and then maybe that disagrees with what they were born as, you know? Just something like a children's book or just some kind of picture on the wall that represents that. It doesn't have to be anything beyond that that's not age appropriate. You know, this doesn't involve gay sex education.
It is. It's a horrible Jubilee video.
Or hormone therapy, or like, if we're talking like elementary school kids, it's just representation, like just putting it on everyone's radar that those people are out there.
At its core, it's not about you have to agree with this and this is an agenda. It's about you can agree with this, you can disagree with this, but you need to respect it.
You know, growing up, I didn't have those books. I was questioning myself if I'm normal, quote, or if I'm, you know, if there's something wrong with me. Why do I have these feelings? Is this correct? Because I never had a conversation with my parents. My parents are straight. My whole family is very conservative. So it was really
no grays yet, but my hair is greasy from the rain today.
difficult for me to accept myself because I didn't see the acceptance anywhere else.
It's the exact same thing as different cultures, different religions. It's just another diverse area that you need to be exposed to.
And it's like me being okay with schools being taught heterosexual relationships. Like, I'm okay with that.
I think it's like really, really perverted when right-wingers try to act like if a kid knows about a gay couple that's like sexualizing the child. It's so goofy because it's like, if they see a straight couple, do we say that they're being sexualized? If you see two gay men holding hands and you immediately think of gay sex, that's a you problem. That's your dirty mind. The fuck does that have to do with gay people existing? They exist. And that's okay.
Something part of the world, of course. Like,
I didn't get any education from it from school. And, you know, kids use like, that's gays. Like, you're gay, like as a derogatory, you know? So for me, it could be as simple as like, this girl has two dads.
To be fair, I also use it as a derogatory, but that's coming from within the community.
My kids have two moms. Simple.
Is it Brittany? Yes. Okay, so you made a statement just now that
this is like the most obnoxious woman on the panel. This guy is worse. Sorry, facing right next to her, but she's pretty awful.
You said you think it should just be like this exists and not go any further. So I think my problem with the school system teaching our children these things is that it doesn't just stop there. And also, what if your boundary is different from her boundary, from his boundary, from everybody?
Find me a single school in America that's teaching gay sex. Find me a single public school in America that is teaching kids gay sex or telling kids that they need to be gay. Oh, nice stars landing for me to catch Ravana for the first time live and forever. Well, Marshall, thank you so much for being here, and we're happy to have you here. The stars have aligned. Based Academy.
These boundaries are a little bit different, right? As parents.
Absolutely.
So I don't think the schools understand that. And I don't think
Hey, Dig on America. Everybody check out Dig on America on YouTube and follow them here on Twitch.
Government schools really should be raising our children, which they are now, right? You know, we should be really raising our
Nick Fuentes said sex with women is gay. I mean, he would never have it, so.
Own children. And if we have to put our children in a public school, hopefully they're learning reading, writing, and arithmetic. And
okay, I always, you know, this perspective only comes from people who have never been involved in any form of like early or childhood education, because that is not, I'm sorry, that is not what students are strictly learning in school. We teach them all sorts of life skills in school from a young age, particularly. Booty eating 101 in middle school. Yup, it's true. No, I mean, like, but what I worked in elementary school classrooms for a while, and you're teaching these kids life skills. You're also teaching them math, reading, the alphabet, whatever it may be. But like, you are teaching them how to get along with other people. You're teaching them about the world in general. And, you know, the world contains gay people in it, and they should know that.
The social things and the cultural things and the religious things that are valuable to each one of us should come from inside our household. My approach with parenting is to be very loving.
Very loving unless one of my children is gay or trans, in which case I will suffocate them. And if that doesn't take, I'll drown them in the bathtub.
Very tender, a very good role model. Some people would say I do some
Yes, it is Jubilee.
attachment parenting because we still sleep in the same bed.
No, Jubilee's fucked. That's why we're watching this. That's weird. You know that's weird, right? That you're... How old are her kids? To be fair, when I was visiting my parents, I slept in my mom's bed with her. But also, to be fair, I don't have a bedroom at that house. And the couch is broken. And she has a king-size bed, and my dad sleeps in a different room because of his recovery from his surgery. So,
but really, it's for a number of reasons, and one being safety, and two being it's more fun than being across the house from my daughter when we're the only two people in the house. We just have a very tender, loving relationship. I wanted to make sure that I cultivated that in my...
What is the safety aspect of it, though? Like, how is your daughter more safe being in the room with you? Like, that just doesn't make sense at all. Like, that's such a bad reasoning. Like, what's the safety aspect? Like, it feels more like she's lonely and she doesn't want to sleep alone. But, like, you need to give your daughter room to grow. That's weird. Like, if she falls asleep in your bed, that's fine. But, like, for her to always sleep in your room and share your bed, give her some space.
My relationship with my child, because I felt like I grew up without that tenderness and that love and that security in my household. So I wanted to make sure that I provided that for my daughter, no matter what.
You said, I'm so sorry to keep bringing this up. I don't want to like trauma bond or anything, but like you didn't have a good relationship with your parents. You weren't able to go and talk to them about sex or your period
Correct.
or things like that.
Correct.
Where was the best place to get that information other than school, sex ed, for you?
That's a great point. And I'm glad you brought that up. I wish that my parents were open and communicative. I had a similar situation to you. And so I ended up learning it from my friends. So friends and magazines and VHS tapes, somebody mentioned, like you learn about these things other ways, but still it should come from the family.
But you literally just you lived a situation where it didn't come from the family. You cannot expect parents to educate on these things. People will like not live up to the level of education that they should be provided for their children. It's real. You know that. You experienced it. Also, yeah, what the fuck does it mean to learn about your period from VHS tapes?
I
It
believe.
should.
It
Doesn't always,
should come
though.
from the family. Because I can almost guarantee that every single person here, and anybody who's a parent or just has a parent, we all have a different idea of what we want our children to learn and not learn.
Your children can't go through life without learning that gay people exist. Like, that's an insane thing for you to want for them. You want your children to grow up without knowing that there are gay people. You can't shield them from that. That's ridiculous. So why not teach it in school? I'm sorry. We exist. We're real. This is next level conservatism. It didn't work for me, and that's why it'll work for everyone else.
About these particular
Mike
social
Boy.
constructs and sex in
But
general.
we exist. That's
Yeah,
the thing
but
is
yeah,
like we
is
exist.
sexual orientation a construct?
I want to add on to that.
No.
So I agree with a lot of what you guys were saying when you guys are up here about representation. We should be teaching our kids that people of different sexualities, family types, they exist. But when you have one entity, one curriculum, one school, one government, when you have only...
Okay, I'm sorry. She's the dumbest person. Like, her ability to to speak, to engage with information, and to make points is so severely limited. And it's only evident by the fact that we don't just have one government. That's so fundamentally not true. And education largely is up to the states to decide curriculum. So depending on where you live, education is very different. I feel like I don't know. I feel bad, but she's dumb, right? Is it just me? For the people who watch the first part of this, she's just like severely stupid. Like she's just contributing apps. She's not even contributing like, you know, arguments that are fun to poke holes in like the insane conservatives are. Like she's just giving nothing.
One entity teaching a thing that can go both ways in a lot of different directions.
What does that mean? It doesn't go both ways that gay people exist.
There's a lot of room for bias. Like I want my kids when I grow up, I want them to know that
when I grow up, you're an adult, are you not? How old is she?
These different things exist, but in school, it's just so hard to regulate.
Gay people do go both ways, though. Sometimes it's true, much like myself. Enlightened centrist 20-year-old. I don't know. Like she's been very conservative most of this panel. I just think she's too stupid to have a coherent set of ideologies.
What's going on? And I see news stories all the time about these children's books. There's one book about teaching. I don't know the name, but it's about a girl exploring her sexuality, and in the book, it literally says, her friend said, maybe you should try tasting your vaginal discharge to see.
I just feel like that's so not true. Like, where did you see that? Facebook? No, I swear this book is real. That's bananas.
If you like it or not. And the thing is, no
one's reading that to kids at school. I'm just, like, we had to read To Kill a Mockingbird. That's required reading. That story is about rape. If that's okay to read in school, assigned reading, I feel like if there's a book in the library that has something, like every school library has books where the subjects of the books are having sex. Sorry, but it's true.
Advocating for this stuff, at least I hope not. But do you see it? It's just
and lynching.
I can get out of hand so quickly.
I mean, I think it's a good book to read, but I'm just saying, like, the subject matter of that book is very intense. So, like, if that could be required reading, why can't there be books in libraries that are not required reading that have more adult themes?
So
that's understandable.
God damn it.
But again, in schools, it is curriculum, so it wouldn't be anything outside of.
But it was being taught in the curriculum.
No, it wasn't. That's such bullshit. That's such bullshit.
These books are in the classroom.
Shut up. That's so, like, the thing about these panels is there's no way to fact check it if you're on the panel. That's so not true. Like, that is so not true.
Teacher to be wilding out and bringing in their own personal stuff that's not supposed to be in the curriculum. That shit sounds
absolutely
wild.
not.
Like, that sounds wild.
We forget.
It just didn't happen. That didn't happen. And they all just like readily accepted the fact that didn't happen. Like, I'm calling bullshit. That is such a fucking lie. Absolutely did not happen. Absolutely did not happen.
That, you know, we talk about, you know, the school system and all that stuff, but we forget that these teachers are people too. You know,
a lot of these teachers are my age. You know, they're young.
Exactly. Like, so my daughter, when she went into kindergarten, her teacher was amazing, great. She loved my daughter, treated her very, very well. But the first time I went I think it was back to school now, a parent-teacher conference, there was literally, the whole classroom was surrounded with rainbows.
That's not even, they're kindergartners. That's not even like a gay thing. Are you kidding me? You have.
And I'm like, rainbow pencils, rainbow ABCs, rainbow. I'm like, okay, we need to know our colors. They need to know their colors. That's cool. But it went from like, okay, you're teaching them.
That's because you are obsessed with finding the gay agenda places. It's fucking rainbows, you absolute imbecile, you dog-brained idiot. They're just rainbows. You're insane. Red gay.
What is this? Like, you know, I don't care if you are gay.
Classroom is like Weenie Hut Jr.
Gay or whatever you.
Was she a gay educator too?
No. She, you know, she was married, had kids. I don't know if her kids were or anything like that, but it just was like, what are you trying to do? It just
She's
felt
not trying
weird.
to do anything. She put rainbows up because she has a classroom filled with 5-year-olds.
I think some.
To be gay to like the rainbow.
No, but no, absolutely not.
No.
But I mean, for a 50-year-old woman to have 1,000 rainbows in the classroom when
It's
I
a
grew up,
kindergarten classroom.
and there was maybe 1 or 2 or 3,
Seems a bit excessive.
what's
the fact that it was thought that because there was rainbows in the classroom
This is the smartest person on the panel. Him and the South Asian woman, definitely by far the smartest people on this panel. People most able to articulate their points. I wish he talked more. Oh, Becca, thanks so much for gifting to Nightingale.
I was pushing agenda to these kids is just ludicrous to me. I mean, to think that a queer person, whether they're a parent or not, has a particular agenda to push LGBTQ
Morris, thank you for giving a sub.
community on other people is just ridiculous. And it triggered something in me, and I bit my tongue.
It's like the trans teacher that wore comically ginormo breast forms. They nitpick anecdotes that no trans people really care about and do a straw man. Yeah, of course.
During that time.
When I was in 5th grade, I had a gay teacher. We all knew he was gay. We all loved him. And I also had a classmate with 2 moms.
This guy, he's not the dumbest person on the panel, but he's fighting for that position.
And the teacher recognized and said, this student has 2 moms. That's perfectly fine. We're not going to go any further than that. Recognizing and seeing the student and telling them that they're safe here. The problem today is what you were talking about, is that it's not just recognition, it's almost indoctrination.
You need to shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. Like, I worked in schools for a while. I promise you, there is no indoctrination happening. No indoctrination towards the gay agenda. That's nuts. That's bananas.
It's taking it past just showing people that, yes, you exist and I recognize you. I took sex ed in 5th grade too, and it was very simple. It was the boys went in one classroom with the male teachers, and the girls went into another classroom. I
am so against sex segregated sex education because it just makes the kids so curious about the other sex that they are finding things out in an inappropriate way. They're trying to learn about, oh, well, what did the girls learn in sex ed by looking up, porn and shit. Or in my school, what happened was the boys in our 5th grade class started doing what was known as credit carding the girls and swiping their hands between their legs. We had to have a fucking assembly about that. Like it is so harmful to sex segregate sex education. There's no reason why they can't know about what's going on with the other sex, what their puberty is. It's not sexual, it's medical, or it's anatomy, and there's nothing inappropriate about learning it. But when you segregate them, you are inherently creating the idea that it is inappropriate to know. And that only piques their curiosity, and that only further sexualizes the other sex. Jay Hawker, thank you for gifting a sub to Jess.
With the female teachers. And we talked about the anatomy. We could ask questions about sex and questions about puberty. And other than that, that was kind of it. But now,
and that was deeply unhelpful.
Across this country, you're seeing these types of books that aren't just talking about the biology and the anatomy and teaching kids about procreation. It's talking about pleasure. It's pornographic material, and that has no place in the classroom. And unfortunately, we're almost having to step back and have no sex education, which we want sensible sex education.
My school, they took the boys in a room and showed us 100 pictures of penises so infected they could barely be recognized and said, this will happen if you have sex.
Because people are taking it so far. And my question to those people that agreed is, why do you not think that parents can sufficiently and appropriately determine how and when they talk to their kids about sex? And
you literally admitted your parents did not have a sex talk with you. You said that at the beginning of this debate. Your parents never sat you down and had a conversation with you about sex. So there you go, bitch.
Why are these teachers so eager to talk to others?
They're not. The teachers are so reticent to do it, which is why we have such bad sex education in this country. I'm sorry. Like, if it's not in the curriculum, they're not doing it.
Parents' children about sex and gender ideology. I've literally traveled
Gender
the country
ideology.
reporting on this indoctrination.
He works for PragerU, by the way. He's been one of the people harassing drag queens.
On the drag queen story hour, on the transition closets, on the coming out day. And whether or not you agree with those, that's fine if you agree with them, but you have to also agree that your child is in a classroom with parents that feel very strongly.
And those children are not drag shows aren't happening at the schools. And if you've been reporting on it, you should know that.
About those issues, and that has to be left to the parent. It is not the teacher's job to say today's coming out day, or to say that you can be called by this pronoun or this pronoun, or you can go in either classroom to talk about this anatomy or this anatomy. It's just not your job.
When it comes to pronouns, I feel like that teacher is creating a safe space for that child in case they do come home and they cannot come
That's
out
what
to
it
you
comes
guys.
down to. It's creating safe spaces for the children that aren't like your
I
children.
didn't mean to point you guys
Honestly.
out, but you both
I
are
would
very
argue that those
religious.
Right.
And I personally come from a very religious household. No offense, but I am uncomfortable as hell, being
Around Christians.
not necessarily Christians, but people
Catholics.
that.
Dude, shut up. You are not helping. That's obviously not what she was gonna fucking say. That's obviously not what she was gonna fucking say. I'm sorry, how poisoned is your mind? Your tiny, minuscule brain that you thought the next word that came out of her mouth was going to be Catholics. She was going to say something along the lines of religious zealots, conservative Christians. Why would you Catholics? No.
Can be pretty tough.
No, I don't mean to make you guys feel uncomfortable.
No, I would. I'd be fine with making them feel uncomfortable. They're assholes.
I understand what you're saying, because it's a two-sided coin.
Absolutely.
It's like
Well, it's a convenience to be Christian. I'm going to be Christian
you
of
go.
the old covenant and not know what Christianity really means on the new covenant. And I know Christianity because I went to a ministerial school for 3 years. So you want to talk about the Bible, we can talk about it. But LGBT is not even talked about in the new covenant where Jesus Christ came and washed away my sins. And I'm a Christian.
Pause, because we do have to move on. I want to hear from Mike.
Oh, well, no, I was just going to say that my wife and I plan to homeschool for a multitude of reasons.
Your kids are going to be the dumbest kids alive. Your kids are going to be illiterate at age 14.
Specifically, we don't want the state involved in our child's education.
You're just picking your nose while you're giving your answer. Couldn't have done that when the camera panned away from you. You had to wait until the camera was on you to pick a winner.
Bunch of subjects we don't even think should be taught to begin with, like earth science. What the hell is that all about?
Oh my God, his kids are going to be so stupid. Oh. Earth science. What does he think that is? Does he think that's some woke ideology? That's astounding. That's astounding that you said that. Earth science. Does he think it's woke to Oh, you're so dumb. This guy's face is like
but
her face, she's like pray for those kids.
I mean, to Aldo's point, one of the reasons why, especially recently, why we decided this was because we went to our local school district's library, and those books absolutely exist.
No, I don't believe you.
And we were told by the librarian that an 8 to 12-year-old can take those books out without their parents' permission. And these books, they're kind of like comic booky types. Some of them are, but some of them have extremely pornographic descriptions. Some of them have visual aids. Some of them talking about, hey, try a blowjob, see how it makes you feel.
He's talking about a book that he saw being covered on the news. He didn't find this book in his library. He's talking about a story that he saw on Fox News. This didn't happen to him. This is like when people say that they went to schools and there was litter boxes. It's like when Joe Rogan was like, oh, someone I know who's a teacher said that they had litter boxes in their schools. This didn't happen to you. You saw it on Tucker Carlson and you are pretending that it happened to you.
Talked about fingering yourself. I'm absolutely not open to having my daughter look at that stuff, let alone even hear about it from other kids.
Your daughter is going to be the most socially awkward little fuck. Not to mention, she's going to be the thing about homeschooling is you are limited to what your parents know. And that is so useless. Like, I'm sorry, unless your parents are, and even then, like, you can reach a high level of education. You could be PhDs. Doesn't make you a good teacher of children. And it doesn't mean that you are, going to be able to give them a quality education in subjects outside of your area of study. Like, your child is going to be severely fucking limited. I heard of this anecdote and now I'm going to pretend I experienced it personally.
And second of all, with the teachers in the classrooms, I feel like there is a larger subset of teachers who seem to have an agenda. This is just what I see optically.
This is what they want to talk about indoctrination. Everything they're saying is Fox News talking points. Everything they're saying is Fox News talking points. If you want to talk about indoctrination, let's pull a mirror up, baby.
And it's just not something that I'm comfortable with. So,
can I quickly ask Ra a question? You talked about creating a safe space for students with pronouns. Do you recognize that some parents that feel very strongly about these issues, that by these teachers creating these safe spaces for students and introducing all the students to the spectrum of gender ideology creates a dangerous space for that other child? That it's introducing them to an idea that the parents feel strongly about?
Yeah, the parents are abusing their child. The parents are being abusive. So you know. Yeah, I'm sorry. We shouldn't create safe spaces for abusive parents.
I think creating a safe space for queer and trans kids creates an unsafe place for straight kids? Absolutely not.
That the parents, no, that you recognize that the parents could feel that way, that the introduction of these ideas is not aligning with their values and it's not okay.
At home. I agree 1,000% with homeschooling. I worked at LAUSD for 10 years, and I've seen a lot of shit that goes on in the school district. I absolutely believe that it starts at home. And if you give your kids a good foundation at home, they should be able to have a little bit of a foundation when they go to school and recognize these different things. Like, oh, I don't agree with that. I don't get jiggy with that, but I'm not going to hate and disrespect the person that does. So because there are
values of discrimination, that's literally it. Like, is teaching inclusivity discriminating against people who are bigots? Let's wonder. Let's ponder that.
Kids that are committing suicide. There are kids that are coming to school that come to school for safety, for food, not only just to learn about sex ed, but literally because they have no other place to go but to go to school for food in the morning.
What about the kid, though, who's made to feel out to be like a pariah? Let's say if there's one kid who's like, well, that's maybe not what I believe with the pronouns or with any sort of
I'm that kid. I don't care about pronouns. Absolutely.
Right, exactly.
TERF lesbian?
Exactly, sure. So now today, I feel like there are kids who are probably going to be pariahed by their teacher. Maybe if they're, if he or she's a bad teacher, I don't know. But that's not necessarily inclusive or maybe a safe space for that one child who, may feel like I don't believe in any of this.
That's insane. I'm sorry. Queer kids are significantly more likely to commit suicide because they don't have anyone in their life who accepts them. But we need to be concerned about straight kids who are bigots. I mean, it's just not happening.
It's not just about making the kids in the school feel safe. It's about educating the people that don't know how to treat other people outside of the school so they can take that with them and respect people that are not inside the school.
Sometimes a child needs a spanking.
Spanking.
The usual suspects.
This is interesting because
the lady who sleeps in the bed with her daughter is also spanking her daughter. Now we got to get social services on your ass.
Because, ooh, let me get close. I feel that
I know you spank your kids, and I know that you like it. You fucking pervert.
Every kid needs a spanking, though my wife and I have decided that we're not going to spank our kid. If that makes any sense. Like,
does.
I grew up being spanked, and I turned out all right for it, but I do think that spanking can be, or, you know, physical, what's the word? Physical
Correction.
discipline or physical correction.
Corporal punishment.
Can be useful, but yeah, not for mine.
The thing is, like, you can take this question both ways. There are cases where you should not spank a child, but I think
Just please stop letting her talk. Just save everybody the trouble of having to listen to her ramblings and just edit her parts out of the video.
about behaviors that have been ingrained, that have been enabled for a long time, that are terrible. And
Yeah, none of the evidence supports spanking, especially when it comes to these types. Like, you're just going to traumatize your kid. They're just going to be scared of you. That doesn't mean that they'll stop doing that behavior. They will continue, and this is what the studies show, they'll continue doing that behavior outside of the presence of the disciplinarian. Once they're away from the parent who spanks, that behavior's coming right back because they don't associate that behavior, you know, with punishment necessarily from anybody. They associate that behavior with physical abuse from one or two or however many people in their lives who's spanking them. 1 year. Emily, thank you so much for resubbing for an entire year. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. Exactly. I'm living proof of what you're saying, right? Like, that behavior will continue outside of the presence of the disciplinarian. It's not helpful. It doesn't curb the behaviors. Positive reinforcement is a significantly more successful form of education than negative reinforcement. Yes, there are meta-analysis on spanking showing higher chance of depression and anxiety for the kids. Yes, and like lifelong depression. And if you want to have a good relationship, so, you know, in America, we have a really horrible system, and we don't take care of our seniors. Your, life plan when you get older and you don't want to be relegated to an abusive nursing home facility, which should not exist, is your family or children. You want a good relationship with them. If for the self-interested people out there who really don't care about necessarily the well-being of their children and only care about themselves, you're going to want your kids to like you because that's who's going to take care of you when you get old. Okay? You want a strong relationship with your children. If you physically abuse them, I promise you, they will not be there for you when you need your diapers changed, okay? They're staying far the fuck away from you. The same way with my dogs, positive reinforcement takes longer to train, but training tends to last longer. The dogs are more confident. Not the same thing, I realize, but it is like, you know, we see the same success with positive reinforcement in animals as we do with humans. If I have a constructive conversation and dialogue, we just have destructive corporal punishment, which is affirmed by the Supreme Court. It's okay for teachers and people within the what's the term I'm looking for? Administration of schools to put their hands on your kids.
I used to work at a tech summer camp, and there's this little girl who's just a demon. She would like go up to the Indian kids, say, "You're ugly, you're brown, you smell." Like, these are things that are enabled. A kid isn't.
Yeah, spanking that kid isn't going to stop that behavior. Sorry. She's racist because she has racist parents, which is, again, why we need better education in schools. She's not learning that, you know, it's just not like an innate knowledge that she had or an original thought. She believes that because her parents are racist.
Born and has this hate towards Indian people, you know what I mean? So I think a case like that, and when the mom came,
it's like, I'm sorry, hitting her isn't going to teach her why that is incorrect. Putting your hands on that baby is not going to teach her why racism is wrong and harmful.
she was just like, "Honey, you can't continue doing that. It's been enabled."
It's because the parent is racist. It doesn't mean that that child would be better behaved if she was getting the shit beat out of her.
So I think there are cases where the only way to get to the kid's head is by showing like extreme like concern, and like for some parents, you know, that can come through spanking.
You can show the severity of a situation to a child without putting your fucking hands on the child. I just don't understand how you put 2 and 2 together. Like, this kid was racist, so if she just got beat, she would stop being racist. Like, that's not how that works. And if no one is like taking the time to teach inclusivity, which you just disagreed with, and to show her why she's wrong and why it's harmful to say those things to people, she's never going to unlearn that behavior. She'll be a racist adult.
But I don't think it should be used for like mild cases, like you got to be on a test or something like that.
Right.
So.
Well, and what do? We mirror our parents' behavior. So because I grew up with, you know, my mom spanked me and my dad rarely did, but if he ever got to the point of a spanking, it happened. But I think that my first inclination when my daughter would have a tantrum would just almost kind of be like to either grab her really hard or to just think about, you know, this kid needs a spanking. And I used to tell my wife, I used to be like, just let me do it. Let me see what happens. But
I told you this guy wants to spank. I told you this guy was horny to spank.
Just kind of restrained ourselves, and we just said, you know.
Congratulations on practicing not abusing your child when you really wanted to abuse your child. Good job. Good job on not doing child abuse. Let's give you a gold star.
We decided at first, and it may seem.
I wanted to beat my kid, but my wife said no. It's literally what he's saying. And I mean, that's like, kids have tantrums. All kids have tantrums. The best kid you've ever known in your life has tantrums sometimes. And typically it happens because they have some emotion that they're having trouble expressing and they're frustrated. Let them get it out in a non-destructive way and then have a conversation about it. Like, you're not beating your child for, you know, expressing emotion in a negative way doesn't help teach them to manage their emotions. Because what is a tantrum other than, you know, an emotion of, you know, not misunderstanding of your own emotions coming to a head. That's what it is. I mean, I'm not saying you should capitulate to the child and give them whatever the fuck they wanted. Yo, the Bin Podcast, thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. I just have to carry my 3-year-old and check what she wants easy. Like, it's, you just have, your kids can, for the most part, your kids can talk. Talk to them. Teach them tools to express themselves. Teach them ways that they can handle their emotions in a healthy manner. That was my job. When I was a crisis intervention specialist at a school for kids with behavioral disabilities. You teach them ways. What I would do if a kid went into crisis is what we would call it. Essentially, they'd be having a tantrum. You know, there's ways to manage a tantrum itself. But after, what I would do is I would take the kid and I would have them practice a better way to handle the situation once they had cooled off. I would say, hey, you know, I'm glad that you're feeling better now that you're in a better place. Let's practice what you'll do next time so that next time it doesn't, you know, make you feel so bad. So that next time it doesn't rise to that level. Let's just go through the scenario and let's think of other ways we could have addressed it. And it works. It's tried. It's true. It's tested. It works. Punishing your kids for having fucking emotions doesn't teach them how to handle those emotions. It only makes them suppress them, which will only cause more and more destructive behaviors in the future.
Seemed like a very like unconservative thing to say, but like, yeah, we came to the decision we're not going to do that.
So for me,
God, it was so hard not to abuse my child, but my wife told me not to. You're so nasty for saying that.
Being African American, I feel like our forms of discipline are more brutal in some senses because they're not.
Why are you smiling like that? Yes, I do think Black people are more violent. Yes, I agree. Why is she doing that?
Given with love, you know. You know, I remember getting whoopings just for laughing too early in the morning on a
She told me she'd fuck the tennis coach again if I smacked the baby.
Saturday watching cartoons, you know, so because they're trying to sleep. So I think that, like, when
my kid throws a tantrum, I just leave them in a car in a hot parking lot with the windows rolled up.
daughter, I always make sure she understands why she's getting the spanking. So it's not, you know, she touched something and then I, you know, get her. It's, hey, you know, you shouldn't climb that because you can fall and really hurt yourself. And then I leave the room and come back in and she's doing it. It's like, okay, you know, so the term that I've always used with her when I've given her spankings is, do you need understanding?
You are not helping your child at all. It's videos like this that make me think I'm going to be a great dad next month. Next month! That's so exciting! You can hurt yourself, so I'm gonna beat your ass. Yeah, you might hurt yourself, so I'm gonna hurt you first. What a great way to teach your kid to hate learning, right? Do you need an understanding? Now, anytime someone asks your child if they understood something, she's gonna freak out.
And she's like, Daddy, I don't want understanding. Like, I don't want any understanding.
My wife grew up with a paddle that had a Bible verse on it. It's Christian. It's the Christian thing to beat your kids.
But after,
honey, go grab the paddle. Got to teach our child the love and wrath of the Lord.
After I've spanked her, I'll give her a minute and then I'll come back in the room and say, all right, let's have a conversation. And
spare the rod.
Like, why did I spank you? Because, Daddy, I was climbing the ladder. What could have happened? I could have.
You can have this conversation with your daughter without fucking hitting her. You can have that conversation with your daughter without hitting her. And if you're fine with being the person that's harming your child, then let her climb the thing and learn her lesson. If you're fine with you physically harming her, then you should be fine with her learning her lesson. And I promise you, if she's climbing on the thing, she falls and she bumps her ass, she's not going to do it again.
Really falling and hurt myself. So what do we not do? Climb the ladder if you're not there. It's done.
Right. This goes back to.
It's not done though. She'll be doing it when she thinks you're not in her. And he pretty much gave the game away. He would tell her not to do something. He'd leave the room. He'd come back. She'd be doing it. Even though she knows that it could result in a spanking. That didn't deter her from doing it. Did it? It didn't deter her from doing it. She did it anyway, knowing full well that you spank her. So you spanking her for it is obviously not teaching her a lesson. She's just going to keep doing it when you're not around. Put the ladder away, asshole. Like, why is the ladder just out? That's on you. Fold the ladder up. Put it in the garage.
To the conversation we were having about expectations.
And I know his daughter, he said earlier, his daughters are little. Like, your 3-year-old is going to climb shit. So instead of scolding her for climbing something she shouldn't, take her somewhere where she can climb. Take her to a jungle gym. Take her to a rock wall. Let her climb. Teach her it's okay to climb here because it's safe. It's not okay to climb the ladder because it's not safe. Do you understand? That's a great point. He's punishing them for shit he's responsible for. Like, put the ladder away, dude.
And trying to meet those expectations. And as a parent, if you set an expectation for your child that has to do with their safety and it's not met and you don't correct them, then that's actually not loving.
If you don't beat the shit out of your kid, you don't love your kid. Jayhawker, thank you so much for stopping by. Stay safe, stay warm. Have a good night. I'm Montessori, and that's why I'm so good at statistics. I hate this guy so much. He's such a fucking asshole. If you don't beat the crap out of your kids, then you don't love them.
And that's actually not showing your child that there are consequences to the actions, and that'll lead them to doing the same behavior over and over again. And I'll also say that...
Again, the evidence is pointing to the exact opposite of this. The evidence, all of the studies, the data shows the exact opposite of this. So...
It's If you are constantly having to spank and use this extreme measure, then you're probably doing.
I love this Orwellian language these people use to not call a beating a beating. You're beating your kid when you're spanking them, is what you're doing.
Something else wrong.
A clue.
That needs to be corrected first. So it does have to be used sparingly and not that extreme.
You're exactly right. I grew up in a Latin household. I'm Puerto Rican. And we got the switch, we got the belt, we got the hand, we got the fist, we got all of it.
You get the backhand with
We
the
got
rings.
that-
Let's just reminisce about how our parents beat us with fists. Yeah, I was gonna say no chancla. My friend's mom is Puerto Rican. The speed with which that woman could get her slipper off her foot and into her hand, one swift motion. She didn't have to put her hand down. She held it out like this, kicked her foot up, caught the chancla in her hand, and that bitch was being whipped across the room so quick. But she said fist. Your parents beat you with their fists? That's insane. Can you not fathom that that's super abusive? Can you not fathom that your parent beating you up is fucked? Beating up a child with their fist, backhand with, he's bullshitting. But yeah, backhand, like, you should not be backhanding. Your dad is a pimp. Yeah, I got the shit beat out of me by my parents, so my kids should experience it too. Wooden spoon in my house. I got the belt when I was a kid, and it did not make me better. I promise. And I was not a bad kid. I was a good kid. I really didn't do much bad shit in my life.
We got the wooden spoon, we got all of it. And it was terrifying at times, honestly. And sometimes.
Yeah, and that's fucked. You shouldn't be terrified of your parents. If you don't chain your kid to the back of a monster truck and kill the fucker across 50 miles of asphalt like fucking Carlos from St. Rose 2, you don't really love them or want to build character. They said blood in, blood out if you want to be in this family.
Sometimes I didn't feel it was justified. Sometimes it was justified, but I didn't.
I just don't ever think it's justified to beat the crap out of your kids. I'm sorry. There is nothing your kid can do that justifies you beating them up.
Create an environment for my child where it was severe punishment that felt like they were so terrified of me that they weren't going to be able to be somewhat free, right? The punishment needs to fit the crime. If you look at the animal kingdom, I'll talk about that again, but they physically correct their young ones when there's danger, when they're out of line, and they teach them because verbalizing doesn't always work.
That's an insane comparison to make on, just on the front of it. But then to say verbalizing doesn't always work when you're talking about animals that cannot speak. Animals that cannot speak. Oh, just the severe lack of cognitive ability in these folks. What are we watching? We're watching something deeply fucked. It's conservative parents debate queer parents, which I think is funny because that's not, mutually exclusive, right? You can be a conservative queer parent. Just look at Dave Rubin. But so that's like the concept of it. It's really like liberal queer parents and Gen Z for some reason, and then also conservative parents.
And I think it should just be minor corrections. I don't think we should get into the realm of abuse, obviously. And also
Christian Walker.
I feel like these days you can't even touch your child.
He's on some of these panels. He was on a Vice panel we watched.
Without, somebody wanting to call CPS on you. When I was growing up, there was no laws. You could just.
No, that's not true. That is not true.
Beat the tarnation out of your child, apparently. But
no, you're not that old. Like, that is so not true.
But now, you have to be very careful legally. But from a biological standpoint.
What if I told you your parents just broke the law? Your parents hammer fist beating you over the head was definitely breaking the law. Like, there were laws in place in 1990. You're not that old.
Standpoint, I think it should just be very slight, and the punishment should fit the crime.
The first thing that bugs me about.
I promise you, when I worked with kids for years, the best kids that I worked with never had harsh punishment at home. The best kids, the most well-behaved kids were the kids who came from loving, accepting households. They were not getting their asses beat when they got home. They were not scared of their parents. They were the most well-behaved kids. And it's not like those parents weren't correcting bad behavior. They were just doing it in a non-violent way. Like, and that's the thing, like, as an adult, if someone does something I don't like, I don't beat them up for it. Like, if someone is, like, in my opinion, rude, or if someone does, slights me in some manner, I don't get to just bend them over my knee and spank the shit out of their ass. You're not teaching your kids anything useful later in life.
About this conversation, that it always seems to be, oh, ha, ha, yeah, I got the smacking, ha, ha. And it always ends up being a laughter that follows stories of people getting spanked.
This guy was so happy to say, oh, my mom beat the crap out of me with her pimp rings. She backhanded me like I was one of her girls who stepped out of line. This is all sounding like hitting my problems always isn't a viable solution. Isn't this the homophobe? He's homophobic. The other guy is gay.
I was spanked. I had my mouth washed out with soap.
I had my mouth washed out with soap. That shit was disgusting. Also bad for you. Soap, you should not consume soap.
I had my pants literally pulled down around my ankles and spanked in front of my friends. As a child, first of all, that embarrassment, it was hard to come back from. Very, very hard. Not only that, but my relationship with my father completely suffered because of it. I resented him. I hated him. I feared him. And it was a long, I'm still trying to repair it from this day. And
I washed my mouth out with soap because I read too many books as a kid. Germans don't punish for swearing. I don't think I would ever be able to punish my child for swearing because every other word out of my mouth is fuck.
I think that as a parent, now that I'm in that...
I don't eat soap, but I find bars of soap so appetizing. Whose pulse is getting picked up by their lapel mic?
Position, and my child acts up, yeah, of course, we have to discipline them. But sending them to timeout, which they hate and despise, and then having that conversation of why did you go to timeout, and they understand and they repeat what they're not supposed to do, it works. And they don't do it again. And I think we can get the point across and discipline our children without abuse, without hitting, without spanking, because that is a last
punishment of every other word out of their mouth isn't fuck. Yeah. Spanking my child for not swearing enough.
Lasting impression on a child.
I think with the lasting impression, right, the physical pain is temporary, the mental pain is lifelong, forever. And I don't think that a child, and now adults, should have to live with that trauma for the rest of our lives just because our parents wanted to correct us in that one moment.
Honestly, I don't think spankings are really effective. Spare the rod, spoil the child. I come from parents that we had a huge leather belt, and now that I think about it, we'd always get told, oh, don't make me get the leather belt. And Dad did get the leather belt, but I never got hit with that belt. And it was more to invoke that fear, because I could never imagine my parents honestly hitting me. And I didn't have to get hit to mind or to respect them. But the moment that my parents were to hit me, I would lose respect for them, because I don't expect my parents to have to hit me. I don't think that's what parents should have to.
My dad was the disciplinarian, but my mom was definitely the person pulling the strings on that. But my mom just had a look. She just had a look, and I was like, and I never thought my mom was going to hit me, ever. She was not that person. She was a send you to timeout kind of woman, but she had a look. And if I saw that look on her face, it put the fear of God in my soul. And I knew whatever I was doing had to stop. I think about that sometimes. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I practice the look, but it was horrifying. And I knew, like she's saying, I don't think that trying to invoke fear is also, I don't think that's a really good way to discipline your children either. But just, it was something about the look that I was just beside myself with fear. I was like, All right. Ray, whatever the fuck you're doing needs to stop right now. Also, growing up, I really didn't want to, I love my parents. I didn't want to disappoint them. I didn't want them to be upset with me. And like wanting just, you know, not wanting to upset them, I think was a huge deterrent because I loved them, because I respected them. I didn't want to disappoint them. And I think just having that in me deterred me from engaging in bad behavior. I mean, for the most, like when I was growing up, I never got in trouble. I never did anything bad. In high school, it was marginal. I was doing shit in high school I should not have been doing, but it was like, you know, kid stuff. I was smoking weed and I don't know, staying out later than I should or whatever. But you know, like, give us the look. I'm not gonna. I'll give you the look when you come back here tomorrow night. My dad was pretty bad, and all it did was make me angry, rebellious teenager with issues. Weed is fine after 16. Yeah. That's when I definitely wasn't smoking weed when I was 13. 6 is 16. 16, you know. Just add. It's only 3 years.
To do if you can't use your words to articulate.
I grew up in a shitty neighborhood. Wait, you were a kid? I was a kid.
To your children to respect you, we have a bigger problem.
Yeah. First time I ever did get physically spanked was by my grandpa's wife.
Oh, someone who's not even a blood relative put their hands on you?
I lived with her and blah, blah, blah. And she smacked me and I smacked her back.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's funny as fuck. That's so funny. When I have kids, I will have kids. But if anyone ever put their hands on my child, I would be at their house beating the shit out of them so fast. I'm like, you think that you can put your hands on my kid? See how you like when I put my hands on you, bitch. Do not touch my children. Absolutely the fuck not.
You know, like, I wasn't going to take that. I don't take that
She said, catch these hands, Grandma.
Disrespect. And, like, I don't touch my kids like that. I don't feel like my little 4-year-old daughter, why does she need to be spanked? She's 4. My 6-year-old, he's still learning the world around him. He doesn't need that. That's abusive to me. No offense, but, like, I just see it as abuse. Spanking absolutely was something I couldn't imagine even speaking of on camera for millions.
She's so visibly lesbian. I love that for her. Or she's bisexual, but like there's a like gay in the face kind of vibe here.
Millions of people to see.
She's just trying to be nice and courteous for the sake of the panel. But yeah, I would say take offense to what I say. I don't give a fuck.
And I don't see the point of abuse in children as little as 6, 4. You know, that's very young and very imprinting on children that, you know, are going to grow up and think that that's how you discipline and that's how you get people to hear what you're saying.
It leaves mental scars when it's used in the wrong scenario. So we were talking about that.
No, it doesn't. Your kid can't make that differentiation. Your 4-year-old doesn't understand the difference in severity between, you know, talking back or, you know, I don't know, stealing something. Your 4-year-old isn't developed enough to make that distinction that, hi, letter hack, that you as an adult with your adult brain, well, with this girl, it's marginal, right? Is it an adult brain? I don't know. But like, you can make that distinction as a grown person. Your child can't. And hitting them isn't going to create that distinction in their brain. It won't. It'll just fuck them up.
Earlier, if you're spanking your kid every single day, you should change your parenting, but you only use it when it's a terrible behavior that needs to stop. Like when I was little, okay, I used to shoplift, okay? I would get away with it. I thought you could just take a candy bar and then leave, but after like my parents found these like chocolate bars that they weren't paying for, they spanked me, and as they should, because
if your parent, you didn't, she literally just said she didn't know you couldn't steal. If they had just explained to her that you can't take things from the store if you don't pay for it, you would have gotten the same message. She said, I didn't know. You didn't learn it because they fucking hit you. You learned it because they told you you can't do it. So you would have understood it either way. God. The child will think there's something wrong with them specifically if spanked, yeah. Especially if you have more than one kid and you're spanking one a lot and one less so, then they're just gonna, you're not just creating resentment in the child for yourself. They're also gonna start resenting their sibling. So they're like, why are you always hitting me, but you never hit little Sarah or whatever, you know?
They had it.
Once I was playing with the thing, I accidentally walked out of the store and totally forgot I was fidgeting with it. So then I had to throw a tennis ball keychain back into Claire's from far away. My brother used to steal gift cards because, you know, back in the day when like credit card companies would send you in the mail like fake credit cards. We would always play with them. My parents would give them to us to play with. My brother didn't understand that there was a difference between the fake credit cards we would get in the mail. They would like, it would be like a promotional thing. Or they would send you a credit card and be like, just call this number to activate it. But like, obviously my parents weren't going to do that. So my brother would just keep the credit card, or it would have a fake, it would have no name on it or something like, I don't know. But they used to do that. And so my brother would play with them. And so when he'd see gift cards in the store, he thought it was the same thing. So he took them all the time. And eventually my mom found out and she was like, where did you get all these gift cards? He was like, oh, they're like the ones you get in the mail. I got them at the store. They have them at the store. And it wasn't like she beat the shit out of him. She like, and he felt horrible about it, but she explained to him that you can't steal. Like that is stealing. These are not the same thing. Hitting him wouldn't teach him that message. Talking to him did. I got caught stealing Pogs. I must have been under 10 and my mom had the place called the cops on me. That's horrible. That's horrible.
Spanked me. They just said, honey, don't do
You
this.
might
I
have
would have
still
kept
stopped.
doing it.
If they just said, don't do that shit, you might have just stopped or took something away from you or use different effective ways.
The thing is,
taking things away from my son, like me smacking my son's 14 years old, who's bigger than me, stronger than me emasculizing my son and smacking him as a woman.
Okay. She's got some bad ideas about gender and things.
And telling him he's doing something wrong, that's wild. That's not gonna be effective at all. It's, no, hey, let's talk about this. You're gonna get the Xbox taken away. I'm not gonna take you to this AAU practice that we're spending $400 on. We're gonna do something that's gonna be really effective that you actually are going to remember. Because hitting, after a while, that shit don't mean nothing. All right, keep on hitting me. Keep on hitting me.
That was my middle brother.
I agree with that being, you know, at
only
15 being
extreme
6'7".
cases,
You know what I mean? So, you know, my
But
mom
when you're
was
12.
like, you know, my mom was like your height, you know? So I think to kind of go off what you were saying.
Oh yeah, let me tell you how me and my sister had issues. I got more punished and my sister got picked up by the cops in high school. Oh my God. I like her. She's right about everything for the complete wrong reasons. That's my middle ground, right?
And the laughter part. We're not laughing because of the spanking. It's more so, and I hope this makes sense. It's laughing because of the experience of love in the discipline that I experienced with my daughter in the.
You were laughing about getting beat, close fist beat by your parents. Don't try any of this shit. You were laughing. You were all kikiing about getting backhanded with rings on. You weren't laughing about disciplining your daughter or love. You were laughing about your mom chasing you around the house with a damn wooden spoon. Don't try to turn this around now. That's not what you were laughing about.
The fact that she now understands, and I know that she won't make that same mistake again. Now, to what you were saying, after spanking her, I don't even remember last time I've spanked my daughter, because now, even with my 2-year-old, when they're acting up or doing something or screaming or going crazy, and I'm like, hey guys, stop, and they're still going, I'll get the belt and I'll just jingle, okay, Dad, we're sitting down. And I'm like, oh, so you guys are good? Yeah, Dad.
You're threatening your 2-year-old with a belt? You're threatening your 2-year-old daughter with a belt? Two. She's 2. She's 2 years old. You're threatening her with a belt? Ah.
Dad, we're good. It's like, I don't have to.
As a respond to
it's
stimuli. They're absolutely like, oh shit, we don't want to get hit.
We don't
But he'll do it though. He hits them.
want to get hit, but also it's a
No, he said belt. He said, I get the belt and I jingle it a little bit, like the metal part.
respecting, like, that's my father. He's in there, trying to work on the computer or something. We are screaming too loud.
One time my dad, because he would hit us with the belt, I don't know if his hand slipped or what, but he hit me with the metal part of the belt. I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. I still think about that sometimes. Like, that shit hurt. That had me fucked up for a while. I was scared of my dad when I was a kid. My mom was the person who was going to tell him to do something, but
it's the job of the parent to make sure the child can come to them for anything and everything and overall love. Why would you teach a child that that person would hit them? That's it.
Yeah, good point. She's done with this shit. They tried to tell her that she's like fucked up because she has 2 dads and didn't have the love of a mother, which is insane. But like, she's so done with these people. And that's all you need to say. Like, if you want your child to love and respect you and trust you, they're not going to trust you if they know that they're never going to come to you with a problem that they're facing that they might perceive could get them in trouble if they think you're going to hit them because of it. Like, sometimes kids fuck up and they need to tell their parents that they fucked up, but they're not going to come and tell you they fucked up if they think you're going to beat the shit out of them with a belt.
The sexuality of parents influences their kids' sexuality.
All the evidence proves that this is not true. Aside from, it's not the sexuality of the parents that influences the sexuality of the child, but if the parents are, hyper conservative, make their kids be straight type parents, in that case it would, but it's not their sexuality that's influencing that. That's their extreme ideology. But again, there is absolutely no evidence that suggests that having gay parents makes you more likely to be gay. There's no evidence to suggest that. In fact, there's evidence that proves that that's not the case. Hi.
Now, if we're talking about sexuality as in just, being openly like, I hope I'm wording this the right way, promiscuous or your behaviors, I think it does. A lot of things that I do, my kids do. A lot of things that my wife do, they follow her. So I think if I was behaving in a certain way and, treating my wife a certain way in front of my daughters and my son, I think.
That's not what sexuality means. That's literally not what sexuality means. Bye. She's so good. She got her fur on my nose.
It would affect the way
Promiscuous boy.
that they treat themselves and the way they treat others.
Emmy sent me a thing that was a comedian who is like, straight parents have more gay children than gay parents, but she doesn't want to stop straight people from having kids because she is an ally.
And would look at sex as more as an object or just something to do more than a intimate thing that you have with one.
She was very sweet when she jumped up and grabbed me.
Person that, you know, creates a real bond.
I'm sitting here because I misunderstood the question. Yeah, I'm sitting here because I don't know the definition of sexuality. Wait, what did he say?
They treat themselves and the way they treat others. And would look at sex as more as an object or just something to do more than a intimate thing that you have.
That's not though. Like you have to, they let him go on for too long. You missed the question. It flew right past your bald ass head. You don't understand the question that was asked. Adults should have better problem solving skills than children. Beating a child doesn't show good problem solving skills. Exactly, Cryptid. Also, hi, Cryptid. Everyone go follow Cryptid.
With one person that, you know, creates a real bond and a friendship.
The thing about childhood is that every kid has a normal one because there's no frame of reference.
Hi, Story Girl. Everyone go follow Story Girl also. I'm sorry, did you grow up in a box? Did you live your whole life in the under the cupboard Harry Potter bedroom? Because when I was a kid, I knew other kids. And I knew that their lives were different than mine. Fun fact, LGBT plus people aren't gay just to have sex. Very true. That's what I was saying. If you just look at a gay couple and immediately think about sex, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. That's your dirty mind. That's your perverse nature.
Everything's relative. So whatever you put into that child's life.
No. It's like, okay. I think this is a good example of this. When I was growing up, when I was little, I don't know, elementary school, my dad knew this guy who through faults of his own became homeless. I want to frame it this way. I don't want you to feel sympathetic to this man. He sucked. But because he became homeless and because my dad is a generous person, he offered to let him live in our basement, which he did, for a while. And I recognized pretty quickly that it wasn't normal to have some man living in your basement. When I went to my friend's house and saw that they did not have some man living in their basement. I thought it was normal before, but then I talked to human beings and I realized that that was not the typical experience of other people. Because I didn't grow up locked in the under the cupboard bedroom from Harry Potter. And I met human beings who were not within my immediate family.
Life becomes their normal. Children that are from same-sex households, they have a higher chance of identifying as LGBTQ. And
they don't. No, they don't. That's not true. That is absolutely, he just lied. You're a lying liar who lies, bitch. That's not true.
Claim that this is because they're more accepting and more receptive to that. But I would say that I would point to the generations, that each generation as they got older, the amount of people, the percentage of people that identify as LGBTQ doubles each generation. And some of that can be because of acceptance of society, but I do not believe that it is pure acceptance.
And eventually everyone will be gay. And then our agenda has finally fully blossomed. It literally is because of acceptance. And thank you for pointing out the left-handedness thing.
There is influence that's happening on our social media.
Oh, no.
That's happening in media or in the world, but it starts at home. And there is influence in the home that when you see.
And who cares though? Like, even if that was true, even if everyone would become gay, who cares? Like, who cares? What does that change? Who gives a shit? So I grew up in apartments and everyone I knew lived in apartments. So my twin and I had a Playmobil house that we thought was a 4-unit apartment. That's awesome.
As normal, it will of course influence your sexuality and how you view these things.
I just want to say quickly that sexuality in the home should be a good role model for your children, should be constructive, it should be loving and not toxic. If a child sees sexuality and sees it as toxic, they may just choose to go the other way.
It's just so not true. I just can't do anything but laugh. Like, that is so not true. What? typically happens in that case is that when those kids have no good models of what a healthy relationship is like, they're more likely to have abusive relationships. They're not more likely to become gay. Like, that's nuts. That's bananas. If you're in an abusive relationship, you and your spouse, and you have a child that witnesses that, sure, they might think that's normal if they have no good outside influences. But that doesn't mean they're going to become gay. That means they're either going to be an abuser or be abused. Is more likely the case. And accept that that is the norm. It's times like this, all I can do is laugh. So I'm mold level intellect.
A lot of gay people have straight parents. A lot of gay parents produce straight kids. So debunked. You cannot, if you're straight, that doesn't mean your child is straight. If you're gay, that doesn't mean your child is gay. I want to stand firm on the fact that sexuality is biological. It's not something you can choose. And if it's something you want to explore,
I disagree. I agree to a point that we do see homosexuality in animals in nature. But beyond that, like, I don't necessarily think that, like, I'm like, you know, I don't think there's like a gene inside me that makes me bisexual. I wouldn't go so far as, like, it exists in nature. So maybe to some extent it's biological, but not for everybody. Some people, you know, that's just the attraction. It's a chemical makeup in your brain. Yeah, but I mean, our brains are heavily influenced by, you know, socialization. She said biological. Yeah, fair enough. Kinsey or whatever. I mean, anyone could be, you know, everyone's a little gay. Even if you think you're 100% straight. Think of the hottest guy you know if you're a man who's 100% straight. Boom, you're not 100% straight.
that's different from choosing. Exploring is, oh, maybe I'll go see what it's like being with a woman. Oh, that didn't feel right because it's biological.
Yeah, so 2 points, one of which is something that you had said about them only knowing that there's two gay parents. And so they relate to that more. In my life, like, yes, there is two gay parents, but we also are surrounded by a lot of straight parents and a lot of straight couples. And their friends come over to play and they have a mom and a dad and they come over. So
some of us aren't interested in biological relationships. Some of us are waiting for the machine mind merger for the really good time.
Them being only seeing this one
My
thing.
My frog is gay, but I swear it wasn't before.
And then thinking, oh, maybe I'm gay because that's the only thing I know. I don't believe in that.
I don't think that. I just think, what is normal to them? Is it normal for them to have two dads? Of course, right? Yeah. Having a mom and a dad, is it normal?
But it's also normal to see other kids with their mom and dad too. I mean, they see it all the time. And then my second other was...
Thank you for just like very calmly and kindly calling this guy an idiot. Because his whole argument was, you think everything in your life is normal, which is like, no. When I was in high school, I was acutely aware of the fact that, that not everybody else was as poor as me. And I didn't think it was normal that, necessarily that my family had less money than the other families at the school or whatever, or not all of them. I grew up in a low income neighborhood, but there were some rich kids at my school. I didn't necessarily think they were abnormal. And I didn't think that it was necessarily, typical of my family's income. I just thought it was, my life is this way. Their life is that way. Life is unfair. But I wasn't isolated from other people's experiences. Did you catch Emma today on this topic? She was fire. I did not.
Is just the fact of a choice. I mean, you talked about it. It's definitely not a choice. If I had to choose way back when I was 15, 14, thinking, oh gosh, I'm gay, I would not choose to have society.
That reminded me. Thank you so much for gifting a sub to Paladin Lost.
Looking at me, judging me when I'm out to dinner with my two girls and people come up and go, you're doing such a good job.
Never ever remind a gay couple that you think they're not normal. that you feel like you need to give them some sort of reassurance. It's so weird. Or don't go up to like a trans person you see and tell them how like fantastic they look and how great they're doing at being trans. Like they know they look fantastic. Like you don't need to, like, if you're gonna compliment someone, compliment them the same way that you would compliment you know, a cis person or a straight couple, or mind your fucking business. Or like, you know, compliment something specific. Like, don't just say, you're doing such a good job. Like say, oh, I really like your top. Because that's what you would say to a cis woman whose top you really liked. You wouldn't go up to her and go like, yes, queen, look at you living your best. Like, that's so weird. You'd like stop being weird to people. Okay. So it's like lived up shit, right? But like, you don't have like, they don't need strangers coming up to them on the street and reminding them that like, they are not the average individual in the United States. I perfected my angry scowl at people commenting me on how, complimenting me on how well I pass. It's such a backhanded compliment, especially to come up to a trans person who you don't know and then tell them how well they pass. Because on the one hand, you identified them as trans and then you're complimenting them on something that it doesn't matter, right? Passing is not the end all be all of being trans. And so it's like, how about you just go on by and mind your goddamn business? What's up with busybodies? Is Yas Queen done last week? Or done now? I just used it last week. You can still use it, but like context needs to be appropriate.
Do that to straight parents who are out with their kids. Like, why come up to me?
Yeah, you do.
So I would not have chosen to be gay if I had the choice. I am gay. I am happy. My life is amazing. And I wouldn't want it any other way. But back then, when I was figuring things out, I wouldn't have chosen it.
I said they do
People tell me that all the
compliment
day.
straight parents
Especially
too.
being a black father.
Oh,
I get it all day long.
Don't you think that's racist? Don't you think that's a bit racist though? Can't you relate? They are being given that compliment because they're gay. You're being given that compliment because you're black. It's bigotry either way. So shouldn't you be able to relate then? At the discrimination? Also, shut up. Like, there's not like, people aren't going up to straight couples being like, you're doing, strangers aren't coming up to you at restaurants saying, you're doing such a good job raising your kids despite everything that you're suffering.
On the other side of things, I want to talk about this notion of what is normal influences what you are. I went to an all-boys school. I'll say this a million times. I went to an all-boys school until I was 15. I did not know what a girl was until I was 15. My parents are heterosexual. They're pretty conservative. They are Christian. Nothing in my environment was saying, you need to be a girl, you are queer, you like are lesbian, right? That was just always within me, and nothing in my environment pushed me to do that. I think that is just one very clear example that your environment does not make you have a particular sexuality or gender. That is just within you.
The way I was parented.
I'm still so confused as to how she was in an all boys school. Like, I just like, I need more, like, she keeps like soft launching it, but I'm like, I need the full story, babe. Like, I need to understand how they got you in an all boys school. I think she's trans. I don't know though. I'm not sure, because I feel like at this point, like in that moment, I think she would have said it, right? Instead of saying, you know, I didn't realize I was lesbian because I was never around women. I read her shirt. But, you know, you can support trans people and not be trans. I don't know. Maybe she is.
Parented made me feel safe and seen.
Play it back. She did say it. Oh.
To be gay if I had the choice. I am gay. I am happy. My life is.
Oh, Oh, yeah, she did say that. I missed it. I missed it.
That they were getting into.
I guess I heard it and it went in one ear and out the other.
My parents already knew that they were getting.
Okay, well then that makes sense.
into parenting miles behind other people because the world tells them they're going to be this kind of parent simply because they're gay. From what they've told me before.
What was the question? I missed it.
And seen.
The way I was parented made me feel safe and seen.
My parents already knew that they were getting into parenting miles behind other people because the world tells them they're going to be this kind of parent simply because they're gay. From what they've told me before I was born, before my brother was born, it was doing all kinds of research on what works for kids, how to raise a girl, what girl puberty is like, all of these things. They made sure that they were super educated so that the only reason the world could tell them they were a bad parent is because they were gay. And that means nothing.
No, I didn't mean that. I was just confused.
That comes down to your own.
Mike, thank you so much for resubbing for 11 months.
Opinion. And so I grew up feeling so safe, so supported. I came to my parents with any question and they always had the answer.
It was just something she said earlier. I wasn't sure. The way that she was talking earlier, it didn't seem like she was trans, but I missed it. Just funning with you, Ray.
And I always knew I could grow up being whatever I wanted to be. And whether that was sexuality, whether that was career-wise, honestly, growing up with two dads was really beneficial as a woman because there was nothing impeding on, or there were no boundaries set on what a woman should be or what a woman should act like. It was, no, you go out and your brain is your biggest asset and it's the most beautiful thing about you. Go out and do whatever you want. Women can do whatever men can do. And it was really great, actually, to not have a woman in the household that maybe would have derailed that in some way.
I half agree. I would say I felt safe. I did not particularly feel seen. My parents don't know what being trans is. They don't really understand.
All right. Well, now it's abundantly clear
what being gay was when I came out.
Good night, Canadian Skull Dragon.
They were like, we don't really know what this is, but we love you. And that's what made me feel safe. Even if they don't particularly see me, they came to see me. And at the end of the day, if they say, I love you and you are welcome here, that's what matters. So for me to be met with love from conservative values was pretty shocking because I just have so much experience of observing media where Christians are always paired with anti-LGBT rhetoric, and conservatism is not compatible with this. But in my own personal life, I've seen the two be completely compatible. You can be conservative and you can be queer. You can be Christian and you can support LGBT people.
Spectre, thank you so much for resubbing.
And that's something I didn't really think was possible, but my parents proved me wrong in that way.
I feel like I grew up with the...
Honestly, I feel like that's the least you can ask because, you know, there are... So like, and I think that because we are in the like hyper political spaces that we're in, we have this view that like people are, you know, everybody knows what trans people are or queer people are. But particularly when it comes to like, you know, being trans or having like a sexuality that's lesser known or talked about, or being non-binary, or, you know, being ace, for example, like there's just a lot of people who just don't know what that is, right? And I, you know, and people should educate themselves, and we should, you know, have a better education system that teaches people that these people exist. But like the least you can ask of someone is like, you don't, even if you don't understand it, you don't need to. You just need to love and accept me. It would be great if you would take the time to learn and understand it, or listen to me so that you could have a better understanding of what it is. But at the very least, just love and accept me. Baseline, like that's the bar is, it's not high, but like even just that, even just having someone say, you know, I don't really understand what being trans is, but it doesn't matter. I accept you and I love you. Like that can mean a world of difference to somebody versus obviously the other side of that being bigoted and hateful.
The best parents in the world. They did everything that they could to make me the best person I am today.
You're a horrible person today. If anything, you're a massive indictment on their parenting.
And
I hope that I hope that they're good parents. I hope that they did everything they could, but you turned out like shit, Aldo. You're an asshole and an idiot. I would not want if I was your parent, I would not want to be associated with you.
There were a lot of times growing up that we were going through really difficult times, but they shielded us from that. There were times that the lights turned off or the heat turned off. And as kids, we don't know what's going on. We just ask, hey, what's going on? Oh, your mom forgot to pay the bill. And all these things were hidden from us until we were way older and we look back at those things and we realize, no, that she didn't forget to pay the bill, or we left the tags on not because they wanted us to choose a different shirt later on. It was because there was serious stuff going on in my family, but they shielded us from that.
I will say I don't feel like I was more protected not knowing why my dad wasn't allowed to drive until I was an adult and I realized I was lied to and that he had a DUI. Like, I didn't feel good about that. I felt like I was lied to. And like at the time, of course, I didn't understand what a DUI was, but like I would have appreciated it if my parents had just explained it in a way that I understood versus like growing up and realizing my dad had a breathalyzer in the car, not because he got too many parking tickets, because he was an alcoholic. Like, it didn't make me like, it just made me feel angry. Like, why did they lie to me? Like, you could have just said your dad did something wrong while he was driving that he shouldn't have done, so now he can't drive. And I think I would have been more satisfied with that looking back when I did learn what a DUI was than knowing like, oh, you lied to me. I don't like that.
So that we could be kids. And my father,
Yeah, I mean, of course, like shame is a part of it, but like, I mean, they didn't have to tell me that he was drunk driving. I wouldn't have known what that meant. I didn't know what it was to get drunk at that time. Like if they had just said he did something wrong while driving that he shouldn't have done, so now he can't drive, versus telling me that he had too many parking tickets, right? Like, because then I wouldn't have felt like I was lied to. I try to explain everything to my kids, but I do hide my cannabis smoking, although I do it responsibly. I swear, we believe you.
He took me out hunting, took me to my sports, taught me what it was like and how to be a man, how to be a good man, how to treat women. And conversely, my mom taught me how to nurture women and the things that a mother teaches a young son. And I feel like I had the best parents, the best experience, and I can't think of something better. Can't think of anything
I don't
better.
know about all that.
My dad's probably one of the most soft-spoken individuals.
Whatever your dad did to you fucked you up for life. You're a deeply disturbed person.
Individuals I've ever met in my entire life, but I remember instances of feeling safe because I would see him literally snap to dad protection mode when it came to anyone trying to harm us or my mother or anything like that. And as far as being seen,
unless my dad was hitting me with his ring hand, my pimp father was backhanding me with all his rings on.
My parents.
Who was there to protect you from your fucking abusive dad? There's nothing that screams your life is not as safe as it needs to be as much as that experience of being truly disappointed in a parent, right?
They like
it's a shitty feeling.
All of our parents, they had the expectations we talked about us being successful in our career, but I had so many wants and desires from being a teenager, like wanting to be, I want to be a magician, I want to be a skateboarder. Who was buying me magician kits? Who was buying me skateboards? Like, I had the most supportive, and I guess you can use the word seeing parents that you could ever ask for. And, I owe them everything that I am today. The person that I am today is because of them.
My parents didn't agree with my lifestyle. I came out super, super early. I came out like around 12. And my parents are pastors, but my mom always saw me. And when I asked to dress like a boy in like 5th grade, my dad was super resistant because he kind of knew. Because when your kids are gay early on, you just know. And I think inherently they knew.
Oh, yeah. You can suss out a gay child a million miles away. Like, all kids are a little gay. But like, there was a kid, I did theater as a kid, and there was a lot of very straight, like, I think there's like a misconception about like, oh, all guys who do theater are gay, which is not true. There was a lot of very straight guys that did theater, but there was this one kid, I was like in 5th grade and he was in 2nd grade. So like, And we had like a song or something or a dance or something where we were partners for it. And I knew. I was like, this kid is in second grade. This is the gayest person I've ever met in my life. And now he is a drag queen. So I was right. Go me. But it was just, you know, you can tell sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you can suss out a gay kid pretty easily.
Knew I was going to be gay, and my dad was not getting jiggy with it.
All kids are a little gay. All kids are a little gay.
Mom was like, let her be her. Let her be her. She'll figure it out. And I lost my dad about 3 months ago.
Oh, that's recent.
My parents were married 50 years, same household. The best people. I'll give you a run for your money because my parents were pretty great too. In this last birthday, my parents sent me a card, and it was the first time they've ever said anything like this to me, which is like, we accept you. We unapologetically accept you, and we love you. And that meant more to me than anything in the world, because I'm 36 years old, and finally my mom and dad, and I needed that. And for people that are hearing this, yeah, your kids, no matter how old they get, they need to hear that their parents accept them and validate them. It's important. It does make you feel good. So yeah, my parents are pretty awesome.
I want to start by saying my dad is not the problem. My dad is super supportive. You know, he was invited to my wedding. He walked me down my aisle, you know, and my mom wasn't invited. My mom didn't come to my wedding. My mom didn't get to do, you know, the normal bridal stuff because she did not agree with my lifestyle.
I think that if you are a parent and your bigotry runs so deep that you would not like do something like attend your child's wedding, you're wretched. You're horrible. You disgust me. Like, if your love for your child doesn't outweigh your love for being a bigot, you never should have been a parent. My dad said he wouldn't go to my wedding if I married a girl. Like, it's so it's not just insensitive, it's hateful. It's saying I value my discriminatory beliefs more than I love you. And I just can't think of anything worse than that. Like, when I was very young, my mom would tell me, you know, if you're gay, we'll love you the same. Like, and that was helpful for me, I think. It was contradictory to the things that I was learning at church and whatnot, but like it made me feel safer knowing like I could take a minute and sit down and think, am I gay? Yes. You know, and not feel like I was doing something wrong. Right. But it was like, just because of their religion, I was always like, she could say that, but I always knew that like it would be different, you know? But it was still helpful versus, you know, I care more about being an asshole than I care about you, my child, my fucking blood. My spawn. My friend's dad didn't go to her gay wedding, and I don't fucking know how she was has a normal relationship with him. I mean, it would that if my parents couldn't support me in that, like in my sexuality, I wouldn't be there for them. Like, I wonder how these Jubilee conversations would go if the ratio was representative of the actual population. I don't know. But it's always like influencers, right? Like she's, I think, like a big on TikTok. I've seen her on TikTok before. Like I've been like trying to put the dots together throughout this. Like that's because she looked familiar to me, and I realize now I recognize her from TikTok. The guy, although works for PragerU, the woman owns a company doing conservative bullshit. I don't know. But they're all influencers that they bring on here. So they're really not representative of the population.
But this is by far the happiest that I've ever.
Jubilee always makes sure they have a crazy black conservative. They want to represent. they want to make sure that part of the population is represented in every one of their videos.
Been the most headstrong that I have been, and if she can't support that, then I don't want her in my life. And A lot of my family and friends have been kind of like, you finally cut her out. And
just a reminder that someone being related to you doesn't mean that you have to keep them in your life, because a lot of us have toxic family members who make our lives worse, and it's okay to, to remove yourself from that. It's okay to say, I don't care if you're my parent. Your hatefulness towards me, your abuse towards me is so much that I don't care. I don't need you in my life. And I'm done. It's different if you're a parent to a child. That person is your responsibility, but your parent is not. Their love for you should be unconditional. And I think that it's fine for your parents to disagree with you on things. Of course, my parents are conservative in some respects. They don't vote conservative anymore. My dad at least voted for Bernie. My mom is too headstrong. I don't know who she definitely, they hate Trump. They're not Republicans anymore. But we have differences in beliefs that sometimes frustrate me, but it's nothing fundamental. But, if my parents hated vehemently something that, my sexuality, or hated, something so much about me that they would, not interact with that, then I wouldn't have a problem cutting them off. And, people are really made to feel guilty, especially trans people whose parents are unaccepting, are made to feel guilty about cutting their parents off. But if that's the best thing you can do for yourself, do it. And don't think about it twice. Do it. Take care of yourself first. Fuck that bigot who has chosen bigotry over you. Choose yourself. If they can choose something over you, then you should choose yourself over them. Fuck them. Cut that toxicity out of your life. You don't need that. You shouldn't have to deal with that. They shouldn't be putting that on you. And you are not a bad person for taking care of yourself.
So, it hurts sometimes, but also I'm protecting my kids from that exposure, that hatred, that acceptance that she doesn't have for me. My kids don't need that.
I cut my mother out. She was abusive both mentally and physically. She is/was toxic. I flat out refused to pass that on to my son. And good for you for doing that.
It's 2022. My kids are the next generation.
Did they film this in 2022? Because this video came out a few weeks ago.
Them to know nothing but acceptance, loving, caring people. That's it.
Growing up, I think it was kind of the same way. They didn't tell me a lot in order to protect what I would think about situations. And my dad and I, I've kind of talked about that a little bit, but, we didn't have a good relationship just because, we did not connect on any kind of level. But my mom and I really, really connected. And I felt safe with her up until I came out to her. And it was such a bummer moment because we had such a strong relationship. And I felt her just pull away from me when that happened. And it hurt me. And we didn't talk for a little while. And she said she supported me, but her words were not matching with her actions. And especially the past couple years with what's been going on in the world and politics and all of that, it seems like we're even getting further and further apart. And it breaks my heart and it's sad. And, I want to go back to when I was 10 and rekindle that relationship. And now that I have a family and kids and my family is just so important to me that if she doesn't want to be on board and if she doesn't believe in the beliefs that I have, I'm not going to go out of my way to try to convince you if you're already set in your ways. And it's sad, but it's something that has to happen.
I really don't want the conservatives to talk after this. I don't want to hear what they have to say. I don't care. I don't want their input in this. I don't want them to say their little fucked up stuff. Just let it end on that. He went through real trauma because his parents chose bigotry over him. His mom at least, who loved him before, stopped loving him because he was gay. And that's horrible. We should all be able to agree that that's fucked up and wrong. I don't want them to say anything. I don't want their input on this.
Yeah. Brittany. I see you, girl. Yeah, like I said before, I didn't have a safe relationship with my mom or my dad. So I did seek some good modeling. I saw some good modeling with my friends and their families. And actually,
which, by the way, just to remind everybody, she said that wouldn't work for girls who are raised by gay dads, that you couldn't find a model in someone else. Just to before anyone feels any sympathy for her, just a reminder that she said it worked for me, but not for thee.
Time I ever saw somebody say I love you was at a friend's house in like 6th or 7th grade. And I saw her mom say,
"Hey, Zach."
And I thought, what? They say I love you? And then she would sit on her mom's lap and they would hold hands. And I thought, oh my God.
It's weird, huh?
What are they doing? I thought it was so bizarre. Okay, I have the opposite relationship with my daughter. We're very loving, very open, very tender. But honestly, you know, and the relationship I told you is mended with my parents. But honestly, they're still broken. Everybody's still broken. We're all broken. What mended me the most was, I'll say it again, is having the relationship with my true father. That's what mended me the most out of anything that's ever happened. And I've gone to therapy, I've gone to psychics, I've gone to everybody, and I've done everything you can possibly think of to heal from the traumas, and nothing.
I don't think I would ever recommend going to psychics to heal from trauma.
Healed me, like the relationship with Jesus that I have.
Oh, she meant God. I didn't catch that. You make your daughter sleep in the bed with you. You haven't healed from shit, bitch. You're still fucked in the head.
And that love and that security and that tenderness that's in that safe space. That's the most safe you'll ever feel, because nothing that anybody else on the planet says can matter to you when you know who you are from the Creator. 100%. Anybody can throw a stick and a stone at me. None of it matters when you know who you belong to. And so,
anyone can throw a stick or a stone at me and I'll shoot you with my AR-15.
So that's what I have conveyed now to my child, that no matter what is on the outside, no matter how much pain each of our families brings to us or our external circumstances bring to us, none of it's going to shake us because we know who we are.
It's kind of hard because I don't know what it's like to be a single Black mother, you know, and the struggles that come from it. You know, my dad, I have a good relationship with him. The blessing that I have of not being seen and not feeling loved is that I got to watch. So being alone, you know, the only child, being alone, I got to see certain behaviors, and, you know, I have relatives that do drugs. I'm 33, I've never smoked or drank a day in my life. You know, I've never done, you know, a lot of things, and it's because God put a hedge around me and a protection around me to be able to watch. I understood at a very
Okay, listen, it's your ability to observe things, like chalking that up to God, is bananas. Like, I'm sorry, like, and I'm a religious person. There's a lot of religious people in chat. I just think like that's such a weird thing to say, right? Like, you as a human being have the power of observation and you chose to use it. Like,
very young age what love was, because I wasn't getting love. So I knew when I had my children, I knew exactly what to do. I understand that, you know, there's mental health, there's trauma, there's a lot of things that are out there.
I hate the way that people talk about mental health. They'll just say there is mental health. Like, it's not like the proper way to use that term, right? Like, it just doesn't make yes, mental health exists. Congratulations.
That people, you know, suffer with. How do you not know how to love your child?
You said you wouldn't love your child if they were gay. Am I crazy? You said that you would force your child to be straight. You literally wouldn't love your child if they were gay. So you know exactly how you would not love your child.
Especially as a black man being a father. Real quick, one time me and my daughter, we were at a restaurant and I was getting her some food and this black guy is sitting at the table and he's like watching me and my daughter and I'm like, protection mode, like, why are you staring at my daughter and she's wearing this dress? I'm just like freaking out, right? So I pay for the food, turn around, he's behind me. And he's like, I just want to tell you thank you. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, dude, I've been sitting here for 3 hours waiting for my baby mom to bring my daughter here. I haven't seen her in months. And he was like, and then he, like a tear came down. He's like, I finally got to see what I want. So, to not have that.
I'm sorry, that didn't happen. Like, it's any of these like anecdotal stories. It's just like, and then everybody clapped. Like, that didn't happen. Like, if he wanted to see his daughter, him seeing you and your daughter it's not the same. Like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
That, my mom, she did the best she could. I love my mother. Haven't spoke to my mom in 3 years. My wife hasn't spoke to her family in 6. And it's because of the protection and the love that we have in our home that it's like, hey, you're not gonna come to my house and talk about my daughter because she has mixed hair and you want me to put a perm in her hair because you don't like how curly it is. No, you can go. I don't care if I never see you again. It's about my family. So the cutting off, I'm 100% with you. But the not being seen and not having that love, the providing was there, but just not having that love, I feel like I took it in as kind of a blessing because now I get to love my kids.
If his kids were gay, he'd ask, why are they gay? He literally said if his daughter wanted to stop wearing dresses, he wouldn't let her because he would try to re-educate her because he thinks if his daughter doesn't want to wear dresses, that means she's trans. So like, we know full well that there are things your children could be or do that would make you love them less or not love them at all.
Like.
Good job, everybody.
I mean, what is this? 6 black men versus 1 secret white guy? I have to end, but Jubilee is wild. Jubilee is wild. What kind of video is that? Secret white man. Is he wearing blackface or or like what is happening? The secret white guy is Logic. Okay, I'm gonna let you make that joke. That's not for me. It's not for me. Oh, they're wearing blindfolds. I was like, wait, hold on. Thank you, Forlorn, for the 100 biddies. Jubilee to 2 centuries for me. There is a show called Black White where a white family does blackface and a black family does whiteface, and then they go out in the world to learn about race relations. And it is, let me just show you the trailer for it. Now that I've talked about it, you need to see it. Maybe we'll watch it on stream. It's all on YouTube. It's so bad. Oh, it's called Black White, excuse me. Or did I say that? I did say it was Black White. I don't want to watch, I just want to watch the trailer for it. And it was produced by Ice Cube and it won an Emmy for best, I guess this is an hour long, for best makeup. I can't find it on YouTube. Let me look it up on Google. Not black or white. Okay, let me just give you a taste of it then. If I can't find the actual, let me just give you an idea of what the show is like. And if you were wondering, yes, the white family, while in blackface, says the N-word, and they say it a lot. The dad does.
My name is Bruno, and I became a black person.
No one knew that I was actually black when I had my white makeup on.
For 6 weeks, 2 families, my family and a black family, got together in a house in the Valley in LA, and we decided to swap races.
As bad as this trailer looks, I promise you the show is a billion times worse. The show from Ice Cube is ridiculous. It's insane.
Would go into makeup and become the opposite race. We became black.
You look like a white woman doing blackface, and that, like, you just look like you're doing blackface. You don't, no one is thinking that you're a black woman. You look like you're doing blackface.
They became white.
It's not parody. This was a real show. But I will say the black family in this, they were actually like a family. The white family, they're all actors. Well, the wife, the mom, was the girlfriend of the guy who's playing the dad, but he is an actor. The white daughter is an actress. It's not, they're not an actual family. However, the black family was a real family.
We moved in together.
We're talking living together. It's not like, we're gonna see them for a little party, get together, and they go their way and we go our way. No, at night we all live under the same roof.
The whole experience, it opened my eyes, just made me more aware of my race.
I'm sorry, its transformation is so insane.
I'm a pioneer in this because this is something that's never been done.
Changing color to see what it would be like. It was completely transformative.
I've seen the show. I forgot about her playing the drums.
Changing
so
color
bad.
to see what it would be like. It was completely
No! You had no business. The show is so bad.
Transformative. We got jobs, went shopping.
Hey, white man. We would go out together. He's the honky.
We were undercover. We had hidden cameras. We were sneaking around.
Hello.
We did it all.
I know everyone in this church, upon seeing those two, were like, that's a white couple doing blackface.
We're the Wurgles, a typical white American family.
Except for you're not a family and you're not related.
From Santa Monica.
I just wanted to really poke into the issue of race and see if any flames would emerge.
My mindset in life I get from my father. As an immigrant,
came to this country starting from scratch and demonstrated that you get what you want by working extremely hard.
We'll probably watch the show on stream. Bruno is so insanely racist. So mind-bogglingly racist.
I've never played this game before. I don't know how to play. I was curious to see how the world would react to me as a black person. Many times I was shocked. I feel racist.
We are the Sparks family.
We just a typical black family from Atlanta.
White family here, Vietnamese here, white here, Mexican here. Very diverse. We're just like the UN, baby.
Growing up in
We'll watch it. Go to Google, type Ice Cube. Yeah, no, the theme song for the show is like, let me get to it. Here it is. It's the Ice Cube song.
This was ever done.
I don't like being made up.
And none of us will be the same again.
Please don't believe the hype. Everything in the world ain't black and white. Everybody ain't a stereotype. Just because I look wrong, I'm about to do right. Black as midnight or bright as Snow White. You better do me right or I'ma have to take flight. Put you on nice, blast on you twice. If you a zebra, better come out them stripes. Please don't believe the hype. Everything in the world ain't black and white.
Oh my God. Oh my God. All right. Well, things to come. Things to come in the future. I will force you to watch that god awful show. So best be prepared. Let's raid Dig on America. Everybody go give them some love. Because they were in the chat. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. I'll be back streaming tomorrow. But until then, I don't know. Was there a thing I usually say? I don't know. Anyway, bye.